always look out
Thank you very much. I'm excited. I'm so keen to see how everyone's improved and how things have changed. So far, the season's been a lot of fun for me to play. I told you about it earlier.
Yeah.
I've been getting pump shotgunned in the face quite recently, but I've been enjoying it. So I'm keen to see someone else get pump shotgunned in the face.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed since the last time you're around, and we're gonna talk all about it in the gameplay and so forth. But it's gonna be exciting. We're gonna get those storm surges that we had in game number one. Talking about game number one, let's actually look at that schedule over here, and you can see the schedules. Game number one is just about to start in a minute or so. We do have 5 games. The last game starting at 5:30, so that's going to be interesting. The prize pool here, Proxy, has also increased in the series. So instead of 1,350 Rand, we do got a massive 2,000 Rand. First place taking home 1,400 and second taking 600 Rand. 33 teams today. Like, it's going to be quite interesting to see exactly how these games are going to be played out and so forth. I won't ask you who's going to be winning, but I can give you a sort of a feel on around the previous champs, Neymar, Travis, and Woke. These guys have been very much sweaty in their gameplay, landing over at their sweaty sands, or no, Believer Beach right now. This new season, new gameplay, do you think things are going to change for some of these guys over here?
Well, you were talking about a little bit off stream, right? I mean, those storm surges obviously coming through. They're always a consideration to be made. You know, especially when teams are a little bit more passive and not trying to get that damage. You know, just going for their loot phases, trying to get themselves set up and trying to rotate early into the zone. Maybe get themselves set up, build up. You know, get themselves ready and prepped. But because of that, then they suffer when those storm surges come through. But also, I mean, all the changes that have happened to the maps, to the POIs. You know, with the items that we were talking about earlier on, some of the insane items on the map that can really throw a wrench in the works for any, you know, well-justified team, any team that is ready and set for today. If you throw some of those crazy items like, you know, Venom and etc., it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough for some of the teams that aren't expecting that. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, to be, you know, grabbed out of your box, and now all of a sudden you're in the middle of nowhere. You have to fight everyone and suddenly just readjust to a situation you weren't preparing for.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough. So it's chaos, and I think it could be pulling some teams out of the woodworks, you know, into situations they weren't expecting. So yeah, I think it will change. Obviously, after game one, we'll definitely know how exactly the teams have adapted their style to prepare for today, but it should be interesting.
Yeah, no, a lot of these teams have been getting in their gameplay. I've seen them on the offside, you know, practicing, scrimming, and so forth. So I think tonight's going to be a bit of a challenging one. We're going to have to wait and see exactly how these players adapt, especially to the Venom and Carnage mythic items. It isn't easy. Imagine, like, in endgame, you're safe, you're healing up, you're all chilling. Storm Surge active.
You. No.
You just get dragged out of your box.
Just get out.
Honestly, it is just the worst to experience, but we're gonna witness it. And I think the players on height maybe will be having those items. The nice thing about it, though, is that it doesn't give a certain POI an advantage because it's randomly spawns around the map. So for the most part, I'm not seeing a certain POI being that dramatic, except for Dirty Docks, I believe, is where you can get the Org mythic item, which deals 39 damage to the body and has an increased fire rate. So Psycho Gloves and the cover team that lands there will probably have a slight advantage, especially since the IGL Psycho is on controller. So we're gonna have to wait and see exactly what that's looking like. But the game's gonna be starting soon. How do you feel game one's gonna go?
I think game one is most likely going to be a lot of teams maybe going for that more aggressive play. I mean, we had earlier on, I think the last time we actually did this together, we saw a lot of teams really going for those passive plays. We had teams running away from fights, really being scared, and obviously, trying to feel out the rest of the competition, and that it really made them suffer towards those latter games, and it's just not the way to go. Obviously, with the way that we have the point system, distributed, and the way that it is structured, you really do need to actually be proactive in trying to get those fights and trying to get the damage dealt, especially like we said, Storm Surge coming through. It's a big part of it, and it's a big part of what we saw last time around. So I'm hoping that the teams are going to be active. I'm hoping that they will be, because we don't like it when teams stay passive and they hide and they run away, and we don't want that. We would never want that. We want chaos. The only way we're going to get chaos is if we have those teams stay active and go for the fights. So that's what I'm hoping. How it's going to go, I don't know. We might see some teams try and just stay a little bit more passive and sort of feel out the competition, which is a fair adjustment. It's a fair assessment. You might not know who you're going to be going up against, or maybe you're still feeling out the season a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. For this tournament, we have a new debut teams. They have been playing in the Fortnite South African scene for some time, but a couple drop, splits, snake season type vibes coming in for the Fortnite South African. And that means now I feel like we almost have a balanced amount of trios that are so good at the game that it gives a challenge to the likes of Neymar, Travis and them. Because previously, we would have a race between one or two teams. We would have names like Reepsy and Neymar. Okay, who's going to be grabbing this champion? But now things change. Reepsy left his dedicated duo, which was Cripsy, and they used to play in trios as well. So they have a new trio. Everyone's sort of coming together in this one. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how that passive or aggressive gameplay is going to be. And I think game one is a good set of tone for everyone to see and feel how everyone is in a competitive environment. Yes, they've been going against each other in scrims, but that's totally different when it's money on the line, when there's bragging rights on the line here in the NiBBLE, and it's just going to be interesting. But game number one, guys, just about to start, so let's go jump on board with that over there. No, not Twitter, but we'll take Twitter as well.
Just hashtag go and like the tweets, retweets, and get some people in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make a plug here, man. You're trying to make a plug. I see you.
But yeah, so first and foremost, we got this team who we spoke about quite briefly. Reepsy, Rejects, and their new third, Light Temperat. What do you have to say about the Goliath Gaming guys? I know you mentioned a little bit about them over there.
Look, I mean, with a lot of our big organizations, we often watch them and we often wait and hold and hope that they're going to be, living up to expectations. It obviously adds a little bit of pressure to the teams that have to hold on. But I mean, I've seen the name Reepsy everywhere I go in terms of Fortnite. As soon as Fortnite's involved, one of the first names I see is Reepsy. So I really will be holding out my breath and keeping my eye out for them, hoping that they're going to be, putting up the performance we would expect from them today. But again, like I said, first game, we're going to have to see how they're planning to take this today. Obviously, the teams, might have changed a few drop spots, might have changed their minds about which POIs they're going to be focusing on. So that's going to be the main goal, to see how these teams are going to react.
Yeah, honestly, it's going to be quite a interesting game, and on board already, we do have 96 players jumping out of this battle bus over here, and for Reepsy and them, it does look like they're going to be going on a Bony Burbs drop spot, and for the most part, they did land here last season, so it's their home. They know exactly what the rotations are going to be like, where the loot paths are, what they need to go through in certain areas and so forth. So yeah, let's see exactly what happens. But a minute until these players get to see where the zone is. Hopefully it does form on them, because then they don't need to make any sweaty rotations. And in Battle Royale, you do know those rotations become quite a headache in terms of meeting other oppositions. And let's just see exactly. It doesn't look like for the most part this team's going to be contested, which is good for them. But you mentioned off-spawn kills being a very high key, especially when it comes to Fortnite.
Yeah, rotations generally are just a big issue for most teams when they have to work with it, because, I mean, that's the reason that we have teams falling off early on, that we have our amazing teams falling into situations that actually cripple them for the rest of the game, is because those unfortunate rotations, especially with any sort of battle royale RNG comes into play. You fall into a team, or you're still busy trying to get yourself set up with loot, and then you or maybe get your mat set up, and then you literally run into another team that catches you off guard, which becomes a big issue for many teams if they don't know how to adapt to that early on. So as the teams are getting themselves set up, getting those mats prepped, getting their guns and everything sorted, hopefully we'll see them make a little bit of a better decision making as they take those rotation paths into the zone. But we know how zones work in battle royale. Ira, we've seen zones just be absolutely horrible. So
Yeah. And
it happens.
what's special about Fortnite, especially in those end games, it becomes a matter of moving zones. So you're not moving into a certain straight direction. So the RNG there becomes even worse here for the Fortnite Battle Royale. And for the most part, we only had 6 players eliminated off spawn, which is very interesting over there. It's going to be one hell of a stacker of a first game. Maybe potentially we will get that first zone storm surge, and the players and the viewers will celebrate that, because it's the hyped up moment when all these guys get aggressive. For the early stages, we just get to see them farm. It's so fun, isn't it, Proxy?
We love looking at loot phases and just watching people farm mats. It's our favorite pastime, really. It's just to yes, that's a good smack. Yes, that's another good smack. Yes, another one. Yeah.
Beautiful. You find the launchpad. Talking about launchpad,
But this is
I don't think there was any movement zones or movement items that was in the game when you're around. A lot has changed. We do have now launch pads in the game, so the end games will have a lot of players flying roundabouts and getting a good rotation. So for the most part, at least Fortnite's introducing a balanced feel to making the game much more easy in terms of rotation, because the team's capped materials is only 4,500, and when you're moving left, right, center in each zone, or whether you're gonna get server focused, a launchpad is gonna help you out drastically.
I know launchpads were there when we casted
they?
last time. I mean, I still make sure that I always have one, especially towards those end zones when you're built up, and that zone just decides to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go here," and you're just gonna have to make that rotation. So with that coming through, oh no, it does look like we have a few knocks coming through as we saw earlier on. So I think for some of the teams, unfortunately, they're already running into a few problems here. Some knocks have happened, and now teams have to recover themselves. They have to get those reses going through, maybe get their teams back in if they needed to, but it just looks like chaos is already starting here towards Retail Row.
Yeah, Retail Row looking quite tough. Buzzy as well has lost a lot of HP. His teammate Race, however, does have a medkit and mini, so if Buzzy could get some healing, that would be fantastic. But maybe the connection with the team hasn't come yet, because they still oppositions in the area, so they're playing it quite safe and not making the rotation to get to each other.
Yeah, it's when the chaos really starts breaking out and teams are just trying to take a little bit of cognizance of what's happening around them, trying to build up, get a little bit of a better angle, understand where those enemies are. Let's look back for the moment. I mean, everything's pretty calm for them. They're just trying to find out where exactly everyone's at, and land some shots as we love to see it. Now those hunts really need to start happening. I mean, you've got the tag, the low HP is there. Just get the final kill, finish it off, move on to the next phase of the game, and that really comes into play here. And it's just a running around game. Let's play some circles. Ring around the rosy. Here come the shots, and here you go, down and dusted. So that's a really good here for the team, so they can set themselves up and just find out where exactly the last member is. I think they've already gotten one knock, so I mean, they should be just looking for one more, and then they should be sorted.
Yeah, for the most part, it does look like they do get all that confirmation. As you can see, Race now getting in his victory dance, or I may say so, a toxic dance to his oppositions here at Retail Row. He set that dominance, and that's what you love to see, that early elimination and gameplay. So they still have enough time to loot up, get all the materials up, the utilities as well, to make it further into the zone and further into the game. But those kill points and damage has helped them out drastically, because we're almost into our second zone right now, And once that second zone starts closing in and the Storm Eye starts shrinking, Storm Surge is going to say hello, and some of these players are going to start panicking. But for Race, Spiral, as well as Buzzy, does look like they're very much comfortable in terms of the damage they just done over there. So let's go over to the players, Travis, Neymar, and Woke, the potential winners going into this one, as they are the previous champions in the NiBBLE FNZA Arena Series.
So, I mean, yeah, just being previous champions, that gives you a lot of confidence. Obviously, I mean, players themselves, you know, very well versed in Fortnite. Some of the names that you would bring up early on if you want to look at examples of really good professional players in the scene. So, for them, I mean, confidence is not going to be an issue here. But, you know, the only thing that will be a deterrent is how those rotations end up being, how the zone's going to, you know, favor the teams, and how obviously those loot drops are going to be coming through. So far, I mean, pretty decently set up. Some ARs, some shotguns. You got the harpoon as well, so ready to pull some teams in and hopefully continue the rest of it. I mean, rotation not going to be a bad situation here for them. They're pretty close, just past Believer Beach. They should be able to get in and sort themselves out for the next little bit of the storm that's about to head through and really start being a pain to the rest of the teams that haven't unfortunately found those early spots of damage and maybe the kill points that they needed to.
Yeah, you know, it's always good, like, cheer not getting contested off spawn, but that damage becomes an issue, and maybe we're gonna see Neymar and them pick up the pace in the second zone to try get in a couple tags or whatever the case may be. But this is a phenomenal team that know how to play Storm Surge, know how to play different zone rotations or different parts of the zone. So they're comfortably chilling, getting everything nice and juicy. They load out is secured, everything's there. 79 players remaining, so there's still some hope that we may potentially get that. And they do mark a potential third-party situation that they can get themselves into to start dealing those tags and maybe even get some confirmations here.
It's already this Tokyo Drift starting. You remember the last time we had the Tokyo Drift just happening? We just had, it was just chaos. It was just chaos. I'm happy to see that a lot of the teams have sorted out their driving issues coming through to this. I mean, what are you thinking so far about what we've seen? Okay, listen. I want to ask a question here, and you're just hitting shots like it's nobody's business here. So for some of the teams now, they're gonna be a little bit stressed when there's AR shots just tunneling them in the side of their heads. Hopefully, going to be able to sort it out and maybe take a little bit of a closer fight for some of the teams that are trying to rotate through, and unfortunately are just finding bullets instead of safe rotations in the storm as well.
And that storm putting a little bit of pressure. You know, it's a single 1 HP tag, but becomes detrimental when you're spending a lot of time in the zone. And they're trying to position themselves to maybe gatekeep these players who are rotating in the zone. As you can see, Neymar's here, Woke is here. They're just getting the cab centered so they can gatekeep. And for the most part, this is how you're going to get your storm tags needed. And it's not really going to be a serious gatekeep that we are getting from Travis. Luckily, you know, it keeps the game lobby quite stacked, and that's where things get interesting.
I think containment in any sort of battle royale, if you can keep any sort of team out of the safety, out of the zone for longer, it just plays to your advantage. As you mentioned, I mean, this is a prime position for them to pick up some damage and get themselves ready. Oh dear, it looks like we already have a little bit of a reboot card happening in. So some teams already experiencing some knocks and unfortunately dropping a couple of those numbers, have to get themselves set up as soon as possible. Yeah. So that could be a little bit of an issue coming through here.
What's nice is that this season, the reboot card is now extended time. So it used to be like 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, or even less. And now it's been increased drastically. So for Extinct, there's still a possible chance that they can get that reboot card. But for the most part, it does look like a full disengagement that is happening over here. So Extinct, Jared and Smiley just trying to get in those placement points. You can see they were very much active here at Weeping Woods. They got themselves some couple kill points. I think to the most part, they do have 2, maybe even 3. Fortnite likes to glitch out that elimination count.
Do you experience these issues with numbers too? It's not just me.
Yeah,
I just struggle to read them, so I don't know. It makes me feel better.
Well, there's that Storm Surge warning, and with 80 players in the lobby, we will definitely get it. I'm confident in that. With 10 players needing to die, Storm Surge is going to be knocking. And for these players, they're comfortable chilling on 306. But it does look like he does find himself in a battle over here, getting into a box fight position to take on any fight that comes his way. He does have a decent amount of loot with him, a gold scar as well as a blue pump. But just to what extent can he use the loadout to his advantage as he gets a little bit tagged up on his build, but not to his body? I'm going to have to wait and see exactly what happens here with Smiley as, all the action unfolds towards him.
I mean, they do have a reboot station fairly close. It's just going to be about making that rotation. Hopefully they can make it safely. Obviously, they've already found themselves a little bit of contention here. Have to be careful because you don't want to be dropping any more numbers than necessary, especially heading into it. I mean, you've got 79 players left alive, coming through with that second storm now busy closing up. You want to hold on to as many numbers as you can.
Yeah.
And, I mean, loot-wise, pretty decked out. I mean, with the golden AR there, they're going to be happy they're just farming some damage and setting themselves up for that Storm Surge to happen later on. So at least they're saying a good hello, how you doing, and giving a little bit of a warning there to the rest of the team as they're just trying to set themselves up. They can't. I love this. This is just bullying.
Yeah, at this point, these players are rarely getting in that server focus. As you can hear, the sounds of gunfire around everyone is just quite dramatic right here. But let's leave Extinct and try find somebody that's struggling with that Storm Surge. So let's go over to Cobra and see whether or not they need the damage across. I do believe that maybe potentially this team is going to need to do something, because if you look at it, only 35 damage for them is just, it's not going to be it. They're going to struggle quite a bit over there. So let's see what happens right now and how they handle the situation. So Storm Surge is going to be activated, 9 damage above. And once that goes below, they will be in a tough position. But for the most part, does look like they're going to get in a couple tags. 134 right now. And for some weird reason, Cobra does not have any audio on his gameplay. So we're just going to have to listen to that mute gameplay.
I mean, yeah, I would offer to sit here and make the sound effects for you, but I don't think that's going to go well.
I don't think it will, yeah.
I don't. No, we won't do that to our viewers. Don't worry, guys. We got you. We won't stoop that low. But looking at it, the Storm Surge now coming through. We mentioned this previously, and it gave me such a level of anxiety to watch the teams having to suffer with that Storm Surge going through. And while they're trying to fight, you can see here 44 below trying to desperately get some shots in, connect them, and get themselves set up for the storm. But they're going to be careful here because they're taking just as much damage as they're trying to deal out. So need to be very, very careful when these builds start happening and you start holding on to some angles. Oh, come on. I was still finishing my sentence here, but nah, it's done. It's done.
Storm Surge takes him out over there. That's going to put the entire team in a tough position because no heals, or, well, they got some floppers, but no blue heals, no utilities going into the end game. Mac counts looking quite good, however. But yeah, Ricey eliminated. They can't get their reboots in. I don't think they can, actually. Maybe in Weeping, there's still a van available in the available zone that they're going into. But a stacker of a zone that we have right now, guys. As we go into the 4th zone, we still have 68 players remaining. And yeah, these players are going to get closer to each other. The games are going to get laggy. And only the best of the best will survive this. Luckily, they find themselves a vending machine, so they're able to buy themselves some minis. But now the zone's rotating in, and maybe teams around are going to be looking at that. But they need to quickly make those rotations and can't sit in zone for too long, because the moment the zone closes, it is a 5 ticker per second, and you just don't want to be in that position.
Ouch. As soon as the zones, get their layers up and they just start, multiplying that damage, I hate it when late rotations happen. It gives me the most amount of anxiety to watch a team with a late rotation. Obviously, sometimes there's reasons for it. When you have, when you've taken a fight, it's delayed you a little bit longer, or you really need to focus on your loot to set yourself up for those later phases of the game. Naturally, I get it. You're going to be a little bit late, but fighting in that storm while you have to worry about people shooting at you as well. As you can see here, some damage already starting to being dished out there. It's a pain, and you guys need to just try and set yourselves up a little bit better. But I mean, some setups here happening. We might be seeing another little bit of a team wipe coming through with Reepsy and Rejects team assist. What you think about this one, Iro?
Yeah, they got the railgun, and the railgun's just as broken
Ouch.
as the Carnage and Venom. You know, they can shoot through builds, and he was close to getting a headshot over there if that player had peeked just a little bit longer. But now they're positioning themselves on top of the team over here. Gonna get tagged up quite a bit, but for the most part, I think he's
Yikes.
safe. He's got big pots, so he's able to get back to a decent amount of HP. He should be careful because he's got that railgun.
Yeah, no, you see that stream, you see that Ray, you know exactly what's happening. You just duck out of there. Don't try and take that.
Yeah.
Get a better angle. Try and take a different position here, because it's just you're setting yourself up and your team for a situation you don't want to be dealing with. So I mean, I can see that they're trying to build up a little bit higher, get a little bit of a better angle there towards Reepsy and the rest of them. But just that one moment of peeking out could be all that they need here to get a shot open, to just get a knock coming through, and then they can push the rest of the team, get them out of the game. I mean, it's not like they need to worry about Storm Surge whatsoever. They're 537 damage above it, so they're chilling right now. They just relax. They can just focus on trying to get a number here.
Yeah, and hopefully for the most part they're able to do exactly that. But let's go back over to Cobra now, because as the zones sort of close in more, more required damages or threshold is needed from you. But, however, we are finding the team losing their third, and that's going to put them in a tough position. They are center zone, chilling in a house. For the most part, I think, them being in some fight somewhere or another that we missed, they got their damage extremely up. So 199, they're in a good position. I don't think we will be able to see any surreal damage for them. But Neymar, Travis, and Woke 779, and let's just keep farming. I don't think they've gotten any team kills just yet.
No, it doesn't look like it, but I mean, they've definitely been dealing the damage that they needed to, so we might be seeing one coming through just now if Neymar and them can actually find those connections as it happens here, and everyone else is just trying to scramble and hold on to what they've got. In the meantime, you can see already one knock coming through, damage being dealt heavily. There comes the knock coming through, and now it's just down to one member of the team to try and hold on to this one, but they're getting chased immediately. The fight is starting, and the panic may or may not be setting in at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, as a solo in only wood, you are going to get focused quite heavily right here. There's a reboot fan, so if they can get the cards and maybe go for a boxy move, they can get that revive. But honestly, he does not have the mats to do anything bizarre. Even taking any fight whatsoever just right now is just going to be a Boltsy itself. But we are now in this final moment where things finally get entertaining for us. We get to see the action left, right, and center from all these teams. And, those rotations are going to will be getting thinner and thinner. Let's go over to our Namibian player, as well as some of the Joburg players over here. It's Light, CK, Bojo, and Spooky Boss. I don't know if you remember the second team curse, Spooky. He's now come and joined Bojo as well as Light CK. And for the most part, it does look like Spooky has been eliminated. So we only have Bojo and CK in the endgame aspect.
Oh, it hurts, man. It hurts. But, I mean, hopefully they won't be continuing the reign of cursed games this time around, and might be looking for a better position to work with. And you can see that Storm Eye now shrinking, coming through. And the move that it's going to be making is going to force them into a little bit of an awkward rotation. Going to have to run through quite a few teams here to get themselves into safety. I don't see a jump pad. I see a harpoon at least coming through, but... You're kidding.
That's such
You're
a good
lying.
call. That is such a good call. How did they even spot that out in the zone?
No way! I was just saying, like, movement is gonna be an issue, man.
Yo,
Coming
your
through.
commentator curse is way better than anyone else's. I have to say, because
You're lying.
You called
No!
You called out they don't have a launch pad. Boom, here's a launch pad for them.
I was even talking about the hot period as it came through, and now they're just going to be dropping on in. Hopefully, going to be able to set themselves up and just cover those angles. But they're getting closer and closer towards that final zone, which is great for them. Storm Surge once again, not a concern, and I mean, it didn't matter if it was a concern because they're getting the damage in, done and dusted, trying to set themselves up even better than they already are. So, I mean, the duo coming through here in clutch, making the moves that they need to, and going to be finding themselves a little bit of safe haven within the zone. Just need to get themselves set up and be careful because they're dropping on a lot of squads right now.
They are indeed, and this is exactly what we want, that Storm Surge, those stacked endgames. And look who we have on height over here. It's Travis Neymar. Whoa, as he set the beams. Travis over here, known for that exactly. He's got the ammunition, not really, only 2 more clips left at hand to get himself more confirmations. It does look like, however, they do have that 3 team kills. So that's really good going into this position. 31 players, 38 seconds remaining until the next moving zone comes into play. 390 mats as well. He's got those floppers which he can get into a kill log if needed. And his fraggers, Neymar and Woe can do the work at the bottom. But for the most part, it looks like Travis is the one that's active, moving around, getting tagged up as well. So he needs to just position himself in a sort of safety over here. He gets dropped some fishes as well as shield potions if he needs them going into the end game. Does look like he's setting up himself into being the aggressor for the team, although he is the IGL. So kind of interesting to see what's happening over here.
Yeah, they're going to be setting themselves up, and I mean, with the high ground that they have at the moment, you can see they just have such a beautiful angle on everyone else that are trying to make the same rotations, and they're going to just continue the sky bridge, just going to continue keeping themselves safe from the danger that's happening right below them, from the chaos that's ensuing below them, and in the meantime, they can really get a good angle on some of these teams as they're moving closer and closer to the eye of the storm, spotting out one, just managing to break the surrounding barriers and just try and find an angle there to get some of those shields even lower, maybe break them break them for that final fight. I feel sorry for whoever's below them right now. They chose the worst rotation possible.
Literally, I mean,
Like, no, you don't fight with Neymar here.
you just don't, especially when you're on height. I mean, they've set up the gameplay for themselves, so it looks really good, and I think they honestly get the victory. It does look like it's a 3v1 and a good pump from Travis onto Zorro, and that 3v3 now is going to come into action. Which of these teams will be going into the next round with a victory royale? Is it going to be Travis Neymar on them on height, or is it going to be the low warrior gods that we have come to see get into this position? Still a couple of mats. He also still has those 2 floppers. For the most part, he will be in a good position, setting up a couple of floppers left and right to Woke and Neymar so they can go into this 50-50 with a good amount of HP. They're setting up their builds, making sure that everything is theirs, whatever tops they walk on, but they're going to get tagged up from behind, and 26 damage onto Travis right here. He's going to get a time for a mini, but it's not going to be enough. If he does get pumped, he's going to be out and dusted in this game over here. Woke also quite low, but it's a good pump from Travis. Will he connect that final shot? He does indeed, but not enough to get the confirmation, but it's okay, because his teammates are there to carry him on to the victory. And there's a massive victory dance for him as he claims, or they claim, game number 1 over here.
I mean, that's what you love to see. You were asking for it. If we're going to be seeing the name or W coming through, and that's exactly what happened, what we were waiting to see. I mean, there's the answer, right? We were asking, can they do it again? Can they make it happen again? And I mean, first game in the bag, it's looking pretty good.
It is. It's looking so fantastic. Just how much more NiBBLE series do these guys want to walk away with? They've won most of them already. They continue to set dominance yet again in the comeback of the NiBBLE bi-weekly series, which is now the FNZA Arena series. So let's see exactly what will be the story going into game number 2, whether they can keep this consistency. It's going to be interesting here, Proxy. But we've got a short break to go into, and we'll be back while we set up game number 2. So don't you guys go anywhere. Remember to subscribe, hit that post notifications as well, because we are doing this every second week of the month.
You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment. rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 to the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 to the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 to the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum.
Okay, guys, we are back for game number 2, and we're going to be looking at the leaderboard as well as the schedule to come. We still got a couple of more games, but we're behind schedule by a couple 5 minutes. Game 2 is meant to start at 3:45, but it's going to start anytime now in about a minute or two. Then we still got 3 more games on our hand, and the way game 1 went, Proxy, is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, it was what you expected. Neymar coming through with the clutch there, but we can take a look at the leaderboard and see how exactly those points ended up looking like. I think for some of the teams, they're going to be happy with their performances and how it actually ended up going for them. Of course, Neymar and them must be ecstatic at the moment there. Yo, you can see there were 27 points. Sure.
They haven't submitted, actually. We'll have to wait for them to submit onto the site. But in second place is, oh, well, I'm not sure exactly the official, but this is your leaderboard as it stands right now. Very interesting. Discord and Dabs with 27. Zoro, Warrior, and Xylo in second with 25. Glove, Psycho, and Cuff in third with 19. Vibes, Seal, and Deimos in fourth. And in fifth, we got Steamy, which is Zaki's, Delex, and Kusei. So, interesting leaderboard. We got to still wait for Neymar to obviously submit his score over here. And we'll see exactly what the leaderboard will be officially looking like.
A little bit later, yeah. But I mean, for the rest of the teams, it looks like they were also, able to actually pick up some of those points that they needed to, which is great. Should be setting themselves up confidently for the next game coming through. And I think, we were wondering how teams might have changed the gameplay. Obviously, I called the caster's curse of a jump pad coming through. But other than that, other than the railgun we saw, we didn't see any like super crazy things coming through in terms of all the extra items that we were expecting. So it wasn't looking too bad, but with the first game already going and into it, it does look like we need to get to the action arrow. We're a little bit behind here. We need to see this action happening immediately.
Yeah, we definitely do. And 99 players queued up. Oof, this one's gonna be crazy, man. I don't know what to expect from the game because all these guys keep on surprising me, except for Neymar, Travis, and Woke. Because we kind of called it in the beginning, if you coming in this one as a champion, you are going to be somewhat consistent either way. So yeah, let's go see exactly what that means for them. But let's jump on board with like Card, Davs, and Dibs, a team that we didn't really watch last time around. We did give them a little bit of a peek, however, but now we're going to give them a proper watch because they are setting some dominance some way or another.
Yeah, I mean, getting those 27 points in the first game, they're making a statement one way or another. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how Neymar's and them's points actually end up, matching up to the rest of them. But they had a pretty quiet game up until those last few zones. So it could be that kill points come through the way that everything's been changing. I don't know. Maybe we might see a bit of a surprising leaderboard later on. For the time being, though, of course, Lazy Lake drop coming through, getting those mats set and prepped for the time being. Some good, loot in terms of the pump shotgun that they got there, and the SMGs coming through for them. So the pots just need to get a little bit higher. You need to get those mats set up for the later parts of the game that we saw earlier on, where there it was just a height advantage, right? Neymar and them, they set themselves up so beautifully with the heights and just walking that sky path, making sure that they weren't getting themselves into unwanted fights. And then that final fight came through and they were set and prepped and ready for it. Neymar was the one that took the most damage there, but thankfully the rest of the team was there to clutch it out.
Yeah, there was a pinch over there that I was kind of scared for, I was like, ooh, maybe Neymar and them don't win game number 1, but however, they clutch up in a way we didn't get to see because we only got to see the knock player stand up due to them winning. But you know what? It's fine. I'm always excited to see, different players come into the aspects and so forth. That leaderboard, like I said, it's looking close. We're going to have to wait and see the final results from Neymar. Hopefully we get to see an updated score sheet from game number 2. But let's go over to Popcool Latte and Stary, where I believe they do land at Misty as well. So not at Lazy Lake, but at Misty. This place has been cursed for the likes. And I'll tell you why. It's because it continuously gets contested like every single tournament. But it does look like for the most part this time around, maybe Popcool Latte and them will be the dominant team and no one's going to put pressure on them to sort of get them out of this play. But for the most part, Misty has been a war zone of note. 3 teams landing here. For the most part, Luka Rakic was, the Misty warrior. He would land here, and no matter what happened, he would still land here, and that gives you a gamble because off spawn comes down to RNG. Let's be honest. No matter how much skill you have, comes down to RNG, and for the most part, if you just grabbing a pistol and he's grabbing a pump shotgun, who's gonna win that battle, Proxy?
Oh no! Look, it's happened to me too many times that I understand it unfortunately way too much. If you're taking a heavy contested POI, then it's the risk that you take, right? Obviously, if it's the place that you prefer and it's the rotation path that and you love, and it's just something that you as a team are comfortable with, then sometimes that risk is worth it. It might go in your favor, it might not. But for the time being, I haven't seen too much of the crazy action that we're expecting here from Misty Meadows. Maybe later on when they make that rotation, they might have to get a little bit closer towards Lazy Lake and might be running into a few teams, and then the chaos will ensue. So then we'll have to take a look and see if the teams are going to be able to survive that.
Yeah. So much good players that we actually get to forget about some of them, like Glubsyke and Decov, who've managed to squeeze their way into the top 5. There's that mythic item that we'll talk about in the off stream. It is the org, and he's got it. Apparently, a KBM is gonna use it instead of Saito, who Saito is a controller player. He's got that little bit of an aim assist on board with him as well, but Gloves is going to be using it for this game. Hopefully, I think for the entire rest of the tournament. But that's interesting, you know. Like, I would rely the aim to be more so on a controller player. I don't know. What do you feel when it comes down to aim? Is KBM better than controller, even though there's aim assist involved?
Look, I mean, we've seen it actually with a few of the other titles that you and I have casted, and we've seen controller players and keyboard players go head to head.
Yeah.
And I haven't yet seen aim assist be that much of an advantage, because there's other mechanics that come into play, right? It's not just your aim. Obviously, it's your knowledge in the game. It's how long you've been playing. And for some titles, you know, your console players would be a little bit at a disadvantage if they haven't been playing since the beginning. You know, they might not know as much knowledge. For Fortnite, though, I don't know. I think it can be. You can combat that aim assist. You can fight against it. It makes it a little bit easier for them, yes, but they also have to deal with a lot other troubles that I think, for me personally, I would prefer keyboard and mouse. But if you're comfortable with it and you've been, you know, playing with it and training yourself to actually make it work, then hey, I mean, more power to you, really. But we'll see later when that all comes into play. If it is gonna just pop off like we can't believe, that yeah. We'll give it to the controller players. We'll give them all the rights and the deserving praise that they do need to get, because I just think it's difficult. I can't play with a controller, man. I've tried. I've really tried. I can't. Anyone that is good with a controller.
You and I are different. I can't play with KBM, and for the most part, that makes me then hate, like, you know, KBM only inputs like CS:GO and Valorant. It's because I just suck at KBM. But
no, I can't.
Yeah, I think for the most part, our scene is dominated by controller players. Not really dominated, but Neymar, who is arguably, you know, in the community favored as the best player in South Africa, he's on controller, and he's, you know, had a good history of winning to his name and so forth. And then you got like Travis, who's again one of the top players in South Africa, who's on KBM. So I can see maybe a balance out play.
It makes it work.
Yeah,
if you put in the effort and you do what you need to do, then you make your equipment work for you. I mean, it's the same if you go to KBM. If it's the same sort of discussion between, you know, 144 hertz or 60 hertz or 240 hertz. Like, it depends on the person. I've seen people who play on 60 hertz, you know, smack someone that's on a 144 hertz or 240 hertz monitor.
Yeah,
it's about the work you put in behind the scenes. So if they're putting in the work, then I mean, again, all the power to them. We'll make a meme about the org and the controller a little bit later. You know, we can say, hey, you get an org, you better be playing on a controller if you want to be popping off like this. But I think it's just you put in the work. It goes down to the player at the end of the day.
Definitely. I mean, there's so much like third-party applications, Kovacs. What was the free one where you can aim? I think it's Aim Labs.
Aim Labs, yeah.
So you could go in Aim Labs as well. Get your KBM aim up to par. But yeah, for the most part, we're gonna have to wait and see what Clubs is capable of doing. Why he has the mythic org in hand. Let's see. Well, on the other hand, guys, it does look like we have Race, who's at Lazy Lake, camping above Lazy Lake, actually. Not really with his team as well. So very much separated with his team. You can see his team is on the other mountain over there. So it's gonna be interesting to see exactly what happens over here, whether or not they get into this position.
It just looks like he's trying to be an absolute nuisance to anyone that's trying to make their rotations in further into the zone. So I mean, at this point, he's playing pretty safe. Make sure he's got the cover that he needs to work with here, and I think he's doing pretty well.
Yeah. So let's see what will happen with, you know, Race and them. They did win off spawn in the situation with Ritoro, which was good to see. Doesn't look like he has any team killed. Somebody does get rebooted as well, so this is just gonna be added pressure to that game 1 Storm Surge yet again. So we're gonna have to wait and see what game 2 entails for these players. And for the most part, I feel like game 1 and game 2 in any battle royale is just an adapt and learn situation. None of these players play their true selves because they don't really know who's rotating in their loot pads or in their way and so forth. So we're gonna have to see what what happens in zone 3, zone 4 for the likes of Race and some of these other teams.
I'm just saying this whole controller KBM, debacle. We need
Yeah.
to play it together and then we'll record. And whoever gets the most frags, which will most likely be you, we can just say, okay, yeah, it's because he's on a controller, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's gonna be you 100%. You're gonna have to carry me, absolutely, but
Yeah.
I will at least be there.
Well,
You're like,
I
hey,
feel
look
like
at me.
there's advantages and disadvantages, but the argument or debate around KBM versus controller can go on for decades. I can tell you that for now. So many players will argue this and argue that. But let's leave it to the players in the chat. If you guys want to talk more about that, engage with the viewers and let us know what you guys think is better, whether a controller is better or a KBM is better. Love to hear from you guys. And then over on board with the Namibian captain Bojo. Let's see exactly what's happened with them. For the most part, they were not too aggressive in game number 1. I mean, how can you be when you have lost a third? It's very tough situations. But for
They
them,
did pretty good. Let's be honest. They,
Yeah,
they
they
made
did.
the rotations.
the major rotations, I think they got into a decent position, and I can have a sneak peek at that leaderboard yet again to see where they ended up on the leaderboard, and I'm not seeing them in the top 10. Okay, there we go, 11th place. So 12 points, 11th place, it's not bad. And now we find them in the action, and he goes storm rolling in with his boat. He's here, he doesn't have a decent AR, but it's the pump shotgun that will do the most damage for them. They're cranking up to the highest bits of the game. And you can see now that the action isn't going to be pausing as the hunt is over here with CK, Bojo in them, and the launch pad gets placed. So now the team needs to sort of disengage in this one because they know they have the advantage. It is a solo, and he does have a chili, and he's strafing left, right, and center, thinking that maybe
Run.
the enemy is
Run.
behind.
No, we run from these. We leave these. We don't fight this. I mean, to be fair, for Chubs and them, they did have an unfortunate start there later on. Obviously, they were a duo in a sea of trios, so making the fight there in the late game, it gets really, really difficult. Hopefully, they did end up in a better position, but this time around, everyone's alive. They want to be able to take those damage. They want to be able to take those fights, get the damage sorted. I mean, they don't really have to worry about the Storm Surge for the time being, but of course, I mean, kill points, just getting those kills in general, it really helps them later on, obviously, in terms of looting, in terms of so many aspects that they'd obviously be worrying about. So I think they're going to be quite aggressive this time around. And we're seeing some action right now. Got to be careful there. Some damage has been dealt. The pots are being popped at the moment and trying to get themselves set up. But this is going to be an interesting one. Just outside of the zone, Storm busy moving in, so that added pressure is going to be happening sooner or later. But it's all about recovery. It's all about surviving this rotation right now. So as they build up, they need to be careful with the shots just flying past them. Hopefully they'll be able to tunnel themselves into safety sooner or later, because here comes the damage, here comes the storm all the way above everything else that they need to be dealing with at this moment in time. So I would not want to be in the situation right now. This is just stressful.
Definitely. It's almost as if we talked about it, gatekeeping in a way. The players do crank up above them, do deal the damage, but it's Genie left alone as a solo all the way on height over there, taking up his own fights, and the team is just watching all the action unfold. And there's Genie now dropping down. He did take up quite the damage. If you look at that, he's down some blue, down some white, so Genie just managing to smother his way out of that one. Hopefully they don't get beamed over here, because this car is quite low. And there goes the explosion. There goes the damage, and now they're building in wood, and that means more damage for them. And he can't edit, he can't get out of there. Losing so much HP, down to 55 right here. Rakic, what was the play over there? Knowing that your car exploded, you need to go over to the heavy mats to make sure that you're safe somewhere or another. But Genie
It could have
again,
just been panic. Let's be honest here.
True.
If the car
I mean-
exploded on you, you're getting shot at, you're just trying to stay alive, I'd be panicking, man. I'd be panicking.
Yeah, the fire also, the way it spread so quickly, like that was like in the midst of seconds, and his entire build was on fire. The trees around them on fire. Don't play with fire, kids. That's just the game telling you to be safe. But let's go jump on board with the players, Popcool, Lotte, and them, just to see what's happening, how they made the rotations for themselves. And for the most part, we did have a Storm Surge active, and we didn't get to witness anyone dying because we were enjoying that Rakic moment over there. But 70 players, 68 going into zone number 4. He's got that org ready up and he's going to try and pre-fire some shots, but nothing's going to connect there for him. And Popcool, he's arguably has one of the best aim control on a controller, and you will have to wait and see in the end game if he does make it into those end game toppled, because that's when you get to really detect. But he's trying to now grieve these players and maybe get an explosion and off. And there's a Fast and Furious moment for you as we see that car just explode and go to the sky. But no player is going to get harmed in the making over there. There's a good couple tags as well from Popcool. We can go on board here, guys, with Gloves, Psycho, and Degov as they get out of Dirty Dogs and now need to make the rotations closer to Retail Row. Does look like they also have themselves sort of damaged up and trying to make some rotations. I think for the most part that damage kind of looks like it came from Storm Surge, because if you see like the Coven them had a little bit of white HP lost as well as blue, so the only way that happens is if you below Surge, and if you uncontested in your off spawn situations, you're not going to get any damage. The Surge is going to deal with magic.
Yeah, it's that risk that we talk about. I mean, obviously you have the time to get your loot and set up, but you also run that risk. And here's that all coming through, trying to see if we can actually see the action popping through. Just trying to break the match, trying to find an opening. Unfortunately, for the time being, no shots have been connected just yet, and players are just making sure that they're getting closer and closer to try and take this fight as close combat as possible. I mean, a lot of mats are being used up here, Ira. I mean, they're just trying to get closer. They're just trying to protect themselves at the same time, and this org is just shredding through walls. Oh.
And that's like that uses your mats. Like for this team over here, they've gone from brick to metal to brick to metal, and they're just trying to stay alive. And there's a good tag. We talked about it being a 39 body damage. For the most part, I think that's absolutely broken. An explosion from a petrol can will get into play as well. Positioning themselves on the players directly right here. Now goes to being the 50-50 and he loses a lot of HP. Gloves getting overconfident with that peak means now that he's on the pinch, needing to heal up. And just look at the entire players' HPs across the team right now. The Cov on a little bit of white lost over there. They have some bandages, but it's only one bandage for the most like, so they're going to need some Siphon getting those eliminations, or they're just going to need to kill a team and maybe get a big pot from that. So there we go, 671 damage above. Maybe trading on this team over here, and they want to get into a box fighting situation. He's trying to be the aggressor to set this upon them right now. So let's see exactly whether or not they do that.
I mean, you mentioned it yourself, right? I mean, they're looking pretty dim in terms of the supplies that they've got. One small pot left. I mean, that's not going to sustain you for the rest of this game, so need to hold on to this fight and hopefully make it go their way. I mean, you got the org ready and set, but again, the mats come into play here. Brick and metal is what they're left with, and for the other team that's been holding on to, their position, that's been building, trying to get closer and closer and closer to them, while this org has just been shredding through their mats, it becomes a little bit of a problem. And here come the knocks coming through. The thirst is there, so they'll be able to get some loot popped up, get themselves set up, hopefully for that late game. And they just need to be worried now about those third parties coming through, because they've made a lot of noise taking this fight and still holding on to, if there is going to be a second member or another team coming through to rain on their parade.
Yeah, well, Storm Surge active over here. I think the parade still gets to be long-lived with the team. The Siphon that we talked about happened with Gloves. He did manage to get that final shot connected. So now he's looking quite healthy, you may say. With 33 HP, he can still make those rotations and get stuck in zone if he has to. Trying to play the harpoon to damage the bolt, and ooh! Does look like they do find the opposition, but unable to get that final connection or any tag on them. They need to make that rotation now because they are on the zone, and in 5 seconds it's going to start shrinking. I can't believe we still have Storm Surge active. No player has died just yet. We still have 52 players remaining. And it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do now. Being on the edge of zone, they're going to get focused from either positions, and it does seem for the most part he does get the connection yet again, so he's happy with that one. He's going to get all the mats he can. Oh, there's a launch pad here.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, I honestly don't know how they've been staying alive at this point in time. They kept looking like they were on the back foot there, especially when we joined them initially. They had run out of their bandages. You know, they had one small pot between like the likes of them. The HP was looking low, the shields were looking low, and yet again they are finding not only the eliminations, but they're making the perfect rotation to get themselves safely into the zone and get them prepared for as that Eye of the Storm is moving around and teams are getting so close, butting shoulders at this moment in time. And everywhere you look, there's going to be another team trying to take you out of this and get themselves into that victory royale spot. Ooh, okay.
The action is not stopping over here as Popcool gets an elimination for himself. And yeah, the talk about the GD Luca as well has the third over there. Energy having a tough time of a tournament. We did see them in game number 1 get absolutely focused on, and it wasn't enough as Energy did get eliminated somewhere or another. 45 players remaining. We're going into that first moving zone with Popcool, Latte, and Steady, but Storm Surge yet again each zone we are just experiencing that, and I think you know it is that hype moment here for that NiBBLE FNZA Fortnite series that we have on our board over here. Launchpad is going to be played, and this is the zones that I do not enjoy that much because it gives the players a hard time to rotate. Hard time to rotate means a lot of players are going to drop like flies, and I can tell you now, if you blink as proxy, that number from 40 will probably go to 10 anytime soon. Ooh!
I mean, we were just at 60 and now we're at 38, 36, 35. Everyone is starting to just jump out onto the lobby and just wait for the next game because this is just not going their way. You can see Popcool and them, they are hitting some nutty shots. Man, they are picking up points and they're making the perfect rotations that they need to. I mean, I was worried because they're dropping on teams. They're literally right below, right above teams, but they're still getting kills. What is this?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Getting those tags in those and in these moving zones means that even if you tag a player, the zone gets the player, you get the elimination. So that's what I love a lot about Fortnite over here, is that it does compensate you even though you are the last tag some way or another. But 27 players remaining in the midst of a first zone rotation. So these topples of mountains and everything these players need to squeeze themselves in just means hell for them. And that player just runs past Popcool over there. He's managed to peek in a one tag, however, but launch pad after launch pad after launch pad. Just what RNG did this team have going into the
Nah, I'm telling you, this is where all the launch pads are going for the rest of the teams. That's why we gotta get those grapples in and steal the launch pads, because it's just not working out when the team like Popcool is just going and taking ownership of all the launch pads. Man, what, why?
Yeah, honestly,
this is where they're all going.
Like, to be a team, to have, what, 3 launch pads for each moving zone, that's just going to be tough. We did not get to watch too much of the Namibian, and sorry for the framey experience you guys are getting, but this is the end game for them. So some of these guys' PCs are going to struggle quite a bit over here. But Bojo is just trying to make a rotation in the end game right now. It gets a good pump, but unfortunately he's going to get tagged up and sent back to the lobby to reponder what he can do better. Let's see what Travis and them, the previous winners, it does look like they get eliminated. So we just go back on Popcool, Latte and them just to see whether or not they are able to get that winning game. They are on height, so for the most part, it does look like maybe they will be able to win. But I want to just get a sneak peek at clubs as well, just to see whether or not they're in this one, and then we'll go back to Popcool. So it does look like for the most part they are alive, but just a smother of HP as somehow they make it all the way over here, but it's not going to be the game for them, and they get eliminated over there. So we go over to Popcool and them, probably the winning POV that we'll get out of here, and let's see exactly what happens right now as they drop down. Interesting number of players. We got 8, so Does look like we may
Ooh.
drop down a couple players anytime soon as Popku unrails his gun onto these players right now, and that's just exactly what you want. Latte dropping down steady, getting a good position to frag out like a monster he is, as well as Latte. All these players now on the bottom pits over here, and they do get that elimination. It's Divs, who we saw was in the top 5 position, and now it is the victory royale kill as we see the players crank up in victory. 11 eliminations they walk out
Ew.
of this one as well, Proxy.
I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better game coming through. And I mean, the fact that we saw Neymar and them going out, I mean, it would have been around, I think, 6th or 7th when you mentioned it. So, unfortunately for them, they're not going to be taking this W this time around. But, I mean, the way that Popcorn and them were hitting those shots, I'm not surprised that they were the ones to take the victory royale. And really, 11 eliminations just to add on to everything that they've done up until that point. They really, they were just absolutely stellar in that performance.
They were indeed. I mean, yeah, these guys have been top 5 already, so this may shake the leaderboard quite a bit. We did see Divs as well in the end game getting eliminated, so for some consistency across there as well for that team, we're just gonna have to wait and see what that leaderboard looks like going into game number 3. But for now, guys, we're gonna take a little bit of a short break, and we'll see you guys in just a bit.
You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, can't control them, caught in a haze on the ceiling. You got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin',
Oh, there we go.
Hi.
There we go. Abracadabra, chat. Welcome for game
Ta-da.
number 3 and an intense game or tournament that we have on our hands. First game, we had Neymar, Travis, and Mo grabs the win. However, game number 2 was not the consistent gameplay we expected. And Popcool, Latte, and them managed to grab the win on their end. But it's that leaderboard that looks different and looks so much juicy. And we can actually look at it right over here now. So, Proxy, take us through it.
I mean, yeah, Zoro, Warrior, and Zexler coming through, obviously with the addition of their first game points. They picked up 25 that time around, so coming through with 34 in the second game, not necessarily doing the best out of everyone else, but I mean, second place does mean that they actually end up currently leading with 59 points overall. And then, of course, Popcool coming through with 37 points from that second game does land them in that second place because their first game performance wasn't too great, but they're looking pretty good. And then, obviously, in third place, we still got Divs, Card, and Dabs coming through, sitting at 51 points at the moment. And there it is. The points from Neymar actually have been uploaded. They picked up 36 points in that first game. A second game, unfortunately, they ran away with 11. So obviously, yeah, the consistent performance not coming through the way they would have wanted. Sitting in, of course, fourth place with 47 points. And then Negents coming through there in fifth place, which is, of course, Glub, Psycho, and Dequav. With 37 points, not too bad. It starts like cycling off a little bit. You know, we can really start seeing that gap in terms of some of the teams that are obviously doing well, picking up those massive points. And unfortunately for the rest, they're really going to have to hope that third and fourth and fifth games are where they can potentially shine. I mean, you got to pick up some serious points if you want to catch up to the likes of, Popcool, Divs, Neymar, and all of the rest.
Yeah, honestly, they say it's a close leaderboard. I mean, for top 3 itself, it's 59, 54, and 51. No one's winning this tournament just yet.
No. There's still a lot of competition to be had today, which I love. I really love when we have, a multitude. We mentioned it briefly. When we have so many teams that could go for that first place finish, that could go for that victory royale, it means that the leaderboards obviously start looking spicy. They start looking really interesting because now you can't just be like, oh, obviously it's going to be XYZ that's going to win again. It gets boring, when it's just the same team over and over and over taking all the points, getting all the kills. So the fact that we have such a competitive nature, I mean, regardless of the title that we're casting, we're hosting, when we see that competitiveness come through, it just makes it exciting, man. It just makes it exciting.
It does. And for the most part, I'm excited because it's always a one-sided story. But today, it's a 5-way in some way or matter, Anyone can win this tournament. It's still game number 3. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what these guys will be capable of doing going into the next zone or whatever the case may be. But let's look over at, the likes of Rejects, Reepsy, and them. We haven't seen too much from them in the gameplays, and not even on the leaderboard we don't see them in that top 5 or top 10 positions. So they're going to need to pull up some socks and make it better for themselves. Let's just hope that they do so indeed.
It's always fun for me to watch these sort of games, battle royales, because I mean they're difficult. I mean, when RNG comes into play, when the Eye of the Storm decides to say, you know what, you can go sit and just cry in the corner that I'm just going to go the other way that you were planning. It makes it so much more interesting because I mean how the teams adapt to that, how they sort of set themselves up for victory, and how they just adapt to the craziness that these zones keep putting us into. It really shows the sort of mettle of the players that you watch, and we've got some really sick players in the NiBBLE FNZA series, which means we get to see a lot of cool players. We get to see obviously an insane amount of aim coming through, but also just the way that they set themselves up it's phenomenal. I mean, looking at some of the drops that we've seen so far, Iro, are there any spots that you're like, okay, but like why are you not going here? Why are you not making use of this POI?
I would have to say that, like Retail Row is a really good spot, and for the most part you have like tier 2 players landing there. You also do have, like for me, Orchard and Corny is some really good drop spots as well, but no one's really particularly landing there. And even Popcool, Latte, and Stereo, they were landing at Corny last season, but seems that, you know, they've made the decision to switch up the entire play and go to Misty. So there's a couple of these open spots that, you know, these players can now land at. And, you know, you do get like items at Orchard, which is red peppers, and for the most part it's not always guaranteed that you will get them like you do there by Catty Corner. But yeah, those red peppers allow for mobility, and it's always really good to have for the most part. But yeah, for Rejects and them, Bony Burbs, a drop spot, and they've been consistent both seasons. And if you see now, Proxy, we do have a lot more active players on the game, because we are down to 77 already, and the zone hasn't closed in. So players, you know, it's the nature of Battle Royale. I've got to pick up my pace if I even want to be in the top 10 of going into game number 4. So it's a gamble that they choose, and if it doesn't work in their favor, they get demotivated going into the next rounds.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like we said, for this third game, it's the middle point, you know, of our 5 games. Oh, okay, I'll talk about that a little bit. Right now, let's just look at the absolute carnage that is about to go down here. Obviously, Rejects and them, they found someone that they want to take out real quick and get some kill points in. Make sure that they pick up some points there for the leaderboard. Some shots already being exchanged. They tagging it down. Still shields available, but how long are they going to be able to hold out onto this one when the entire team there of Rejects are coming through, looking for you, hunting you down, and taking you out for the count? So down just below the 70 player mark, and it does look that, yeah, definitely teams are staying active, which is what we need them to be, especially as we mentioned, you know, this is the third game. We're officially at that halfway point where now if you're not picking up those insane point games, if you're not there towards, you know, that top 5, that top X, you want to get into, you know, prize pool sharing positions. So, you got to be picking up kills, like we can see here coming through from Clean Cut Energy, making sure that they're picking up the numbers and farming the kills. Obviously here with the zombies coming through and at them, getting their loot set up for the latter half of the game. I mean, I'm just happy that the teams are adapting. It's good that they're staying active, and I want to see more of that, especially for the teams, you know, that are below that 30-point mark. There's a lot of points that they need to catch up to. Otherwise, it's going to get really difficult when we move on to game 4.
Yeah, we were speaking about this void a lot earlier in the beginning of the stream, behind the scenes and so forth. But yeah, we do finally see somebody at least start to utilize that and, you know, fight the hordes of zombies that come your way. And you do get like an amazing amount of loot out of it, heals, shotguns, or even so the minigun that is in the game now.
Oh, that minigun's insane.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the items that we often get, you know, in Fortnite, some of them just really just force you to play a whole different sort of game. And when those sort of content updates come through, and the players really have to kind of reconsider the way that they would normally play, because there's some ridiculous item that's just around the corner that can really just pose a big problem to you. It's fun because it's just, you suddenly see such a different side of the players coming through. I mean, what are your thoughts about the minigun?
It's broken for the most part. I feel like, you know, it coming in the alien form, it feels more faster using the gun. Like, I've played a couple arena games and I was just like having fun with it. So yeah, for the most part, it is an interesting sort of item. I don't see like a lot of people utilizing it. Maybe for casual gameplay, or maybe for somebody who has insane aim, they would likely use that. But yeah, it uses quite a rapid fire. So for the most part, why not use it is the question that I'm asking these guys in the NiBBLE FNZA arena series that we have over here. But guys, game number 3, 66 players. That game 2 Storm Surge, or no, Zone 2 Storm Surge won't be coming into effect, but we still love to see the added, you know, competitiveness coming in still in game number 3. Usually the case, players are running all over the place right now, but still a couple slow-paced gameplay that we're going to be witnessing out over here. And if you do notice the spot, this is where Rejects and them actually took that fight.
Ooh, so name on them just on the tail there. Potentially going to be running into a few other players. You can see a lot of building that has happened. You know, the remnants of previous battles coming through as name on them are just making their rotations in further and closer to the zone. Looks like they may have found a little bit of a POI that they want to check out here. So just doubling back. But it's either way, they're going to be getting themselves into that zone early on. Oh, okay, we're finding people. We're saying how's it going? Getting those builds and fights happening immediately to try and get those kill points. Oh, this is going to be rough because you still have to get into zone.
It is a fight for the Carnage as the Carnage now pops up on the map and two teams make their way to it, but does look like Travis, Neymar, and Woke are going to be the team to be victorious in claiming the Carnage that is available over here. I'm not entirely sure if it's the Carnage that has spawned on the map or whether or not it is the Venom, but it is here, and you can see it now on the backpack. Ooh, it's going to be the Carnage. So, most broken item, and there goes a pool, but unfortunately not pulling any of the players right here. And you can see just how broken this item can be in competitive. And for it to be on Neymar, Travis, and Woke's team, I think we have a victory already. Might as well go over to game number 4.
No, this is ridiculous. I mean, for name on them, obviously game 2 wasn't really what they wanted to have, and now, I mean, we were talking about this item, previously. Look at that. So they're getting the knocks, and for that final zone, those final games, where we have so many of the teams already set up in zone, they set their builds up correctly, and then lo and behold, here comes that Carnage grapple. You're out. You're out in the open. You are just absolutely terrified about what's going to happen because everyone can just focus you, take you out, and they can finish off that game. And name on them, they were so good in that final zone and that final spot, setting themselves up to have an item like this at their disposal as well. Ooh. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Let's just move on to game 4, shall we?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, it also does give you like effect of red pepper. So you literally have the double movement as well. So Travis right here can crank up and quicker, can run quicker, can disengage quicker. I mean, just why Fortnite? Why bring such a balanced item into the game?
Such a balanced item.
No, I'm only kidding. But yeah, Travis and them very much happy that they've managed to secure that for themselves. Let's go look at Rejects and them just to see exactly what's happening. They need to be active. And for the most part, they are being active. They are in the scenes, in the gameplay over here. And we do apologize, guys, for the laggy sort of POV getting out from Rejects. But this is the best we can get to watch Rejects, Reepsy, and Tembrat in the game. So let's see what happens over here. But for the most part, doesn't look like they're engaging in any battle whatsoever. And you do see the minigun on Rejects, but it does look like it's going to be the mythic one. I'm not sure. That does look like a mythic sort of color on the gun. So doesn't look like a gold one. Just looks like a mythic gold. So I think it's a mythic minigun, and I didn't know that existed. So I'm scared for the players because Reject's aim as well is arguably one of the best on KBM.
I mean, you mentioned it, right? The comparison between KVM and then, of course, controller coming through. I mean, to add a minigun into that mix as well. Yeah, there's a lot more items this time around that we actually are getting a chance to see on these players, and when that final zone comes through, I think the chaos is just gonna break out. 62 players left, of course, as we head into that storm actually busy closing now. Oh, gotta be careful to just avoid some of the paths that we're seeing here. I think they might actually be able to run into a few teams. You can see shots being exchanged at the moment, and everyone just on each other's heels looking for those kills as they set themselves up for that third game. And I mean, I like it. I'm happy to see that, we're not seeing as many of those storm surges coming through. Obviously, it means that, the teams are staying active. They're looking for those early fights. They're looking for those early engagements to sort of just set themselves up, not in terms of damage alone, but also just the loot, the guns that they have to work with. And of course, those kill points are just going to help them with that leaderboard.
Definitely. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see what, is the play for Rejects and Reepsy. But they've been, they still show promising gameplay, even with their new Tim assist. We're going to have to wait and see whether or not NiBBLE is maybe their debut where they can really pop off, or where we have to wait for the next series at the end of the month to see whether or not things change for them or whether or not the entire trio changes all in all. We're not sure 100% if this team is a confirmation of note, but we're gonna have to wait and find out when they end the, the sort of gameplays that they have, testing out a couple rotations and gameplay that they've encountered for themselves. Slycard, Davs, and Divs, who we have on board right here, sitting comfortably with on the edge of white.
I mean, they're not just sitting comfortably on the map, they're sitting comfortably on the leaderboard currently in third place. Just 3 points behind Popcool and them, so if they can have a fantastic game this time around, and potentially if Popcool or, the team that's currently leading, Zoro and Warrior and them, get taken out, then they could be looking to that prize pool. They could be looking to all the bragging rights, of course, for the NiBBLE FNZA series, but that's all going to depend on how the zone's going to shift and how they're going to get themselves into that position. I mean, so far, Iro, from what we've seen, is there any teams that, you think, unfortunately, haven't had the game that we're expecting them to have? I mean, Reapsy and them also, a name that we all know and we'd love to see more of. But what are some of the other players that you're looking for?
I mean, we got Bojo, Light CK, and Spooky as well. One of the other teams that are in this tournament who are really fantastic players. I think they've grabbed a couple. They've grabbed one series and a couple second places, Bojo, CK. But now they have a third Spooky boss, and unfortunately, 9th place is where they will be at right here. We also do got Storm, WRG Storm, White Rabbit Storm, and Keaton, who have found themselves a third chimp. They placed 15th on the leaderboard, so these are some of the names that, we look at and we know that they can do well, but aren't doing well in today's Arena FNZA series that we have from NiBBLE. So, it's the first one that comes back after the break that we've had. So all these guys are just testing the new trios that they've sort of formed up in the making. And we did mention in the beginning that, we have a lot more new teams that can bring out a balanced feel to the competitive tournament, but they haven't shown that side yet. So I'm still giving a little bit of hope to some of these guys, hoping that, they can somehow still clutch up in the next bi-weekly that we have at the end of the month.
Yeah, maybe go back if they don't pick up some insane points this time around. Like you said, I think the teams that you mentioned were sitting, around 10th, around 15th currently. So it's a lot of points for them to try and make up a difference in, the next 3 games, especially with the likes of, some of the teams that we've been seeing running around like Popcool, Neymar, and Divs and all of those guys. Then, yeah, maybe they might have to come back for the next one, or maybe there's an opportunity in this third game for them to just go absolutely crazy. I mean, if they pick up, one of these, 30-plus point games, then they could be finding themselves closer to those top spots. As you can take a peek there through the leaderboard, just a quick peek. But with that Storm coming and closing through just beside Lazy Lake, I think this is going to be a little bit difficult for some of the teams, especially if they haven't made those rotations already coming through. I mean, for the likes, coming through from Bernie Barnes, we saw name on them, obviously finding out that Carnage and some of the crazy items that we got in this final zone. And with those open fields, I mean, those mats are going to be absolutely crucial. As you can see, just trying to build up to some of the other teams that have taken a little bit of a position here towards the end of Lazy Lake, and now it's a case of, well, you're going to look up, you're going to look down, there's going to be teams all around you, so you need to be very careful about where you're editing and opening those angles up, because you could be running straight into another team.
Yeah, that is true, and I don't know, I think clubs, Cyclone and Cup have positioned themselves in the worst place, or worst position, because they're on a basement, so they can't really go out left and right, they need to go out via the top. And you can see teams are positioned on the top. So, what is the play? Are the zones obviously gonna form anytime now? So, will they get the 50-50? Is the question. They don't. So now they need to make that zone rotation. Maybe you're gonna see a little bit of a gatekeep over here, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what that means.
Oh, yeah. This is difficult now. The Ivor Storm is obviously moving through now, and for the likes here, I mean, we saw this team absolutely just survive the most insane rotation earlier on in game number 2. I mean, they kept having to fight battle after battle. They had so little resources. They had so little pots. Now this time around, they've actually got the peppers. They got the pops that they need to work with here. And of course, they are pretty kitted with that org in hand. They just need to be careful about this rotation here. Otherwise, they could be finding themselves back in the lobby waiting for the next game to come through. 49 players currently left alive, and 5 seconds left for that zone to start moving through. And that storm is just, it's difficult. You can see the peppers are being dropped here. The team is getting ready to make a swift rotation coming through there because they need to hightail it into some safety here, and obviously just battling the mats, battling the edits that they have to come through because there's teams right above them that are looking to make this as difficult as possible.
Oh, now they get to sort of use the launch pads here, and it's a mess between the team as they rotate on each other, edit each other, but luckily they finally get in the zone, and Love is just going to need to connect. I don't Psycho, however, close to them. It does look like he is at the bottom of the field, but he's roving, he's getting focused. He's going to try to get out of this one as much as he can, and there you go, finally he manages to do exactly that to engage. But let's go over to the other POV players that we do have in the tournament, as that was very interesting from them. Let's go over to Race that we have in the tournament. Doesn't look like it's actually in the game right now. You can see maybe a Cobra POV from them as well. So Cobra in the end game. Again, muted sound, so pew 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 pew.
No, we said we're not going to do this to the viewers. No, we can't do this to them.
So
we can't. Not today.
I think they joined in as a duo as well, so that's just Fortnite griefing their gameplay because, you know, it's quite tough that we have the team right now in this position as a duo, and their mat count is really decent. They do get lucky with an opposition placing a launch pad so they can utilize that for themselves to make the rotation, but couple beam, and he's now rotated onto the pits of height. But as a duo, that's not a good idea because you will get focused quite severely trying to get in a couple bandages. No blue heals whatsoever for the team, and that's just going to be tough for them right now. So GG's over there. Let's see exactly what they can do going into the zone rotation. We'll move over to Neymar on them in just a bit to see what happens over there. But 19 seconds. It's a dream right here. As you have you have to try dream to make some placement points right now.
I mean, you know, dreaming is not going to get you far if you're not making the plays to work with it as well. And, you know, that Storm Surge, you know, that I've been panicking about the whole day? Yeah, that's going to hit hard at this moment in time. It's going to hit pretty hard. Still below it, still in the storm, taking damage left, right, and center, trying to battle the edits. It's just not going to work out. It's not.
Storm Surge is active. You can see now Mr. Price Sport trying to get in a bandage, but he's just going to get eliminated by it. TT
ran straight into another team. Are you kidding me? How unlucky can you be in one single game?
Had 41 kills in that rotation, but now we are down to 29 as a couple of people die in Storm, die to SMGs, die to players. The Cub is one of them to just die right now in the rotation. So Stubbs and Psycho left alone over here to make it happen. There's a ghost and big pot, and we didn't really get to see the orcs last time around properly. So hopefully we get to stay on board with the team right now to see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like every time we get excited about some insane amount of items that, you know, are going to be in that final zone, we get unlucky. We enjoy the unluck of someone else, and unfortunately don't get to see what those items are really capable of as we look at it. Of course, the crazy building is happening at this moment in time because, the damage is just hitting left, right, and center. And of course, we can see, you know, the team just trying to battle in to get into that Eye of the Storm. Try and get themselves set up because they do have one knock already done and dusted. Actually, it's difficult. Once again, you know, duos in those final zone trying to fight off everyone else, it becomes so difficult. Now 11 players left in this tiny zone all around each other, up, down, left, right, and center. Everyone just taking damage as it looks at it. And the knocks are coming through quite nicely for Glow and Cycle, and hopefully they'll be able to hold on to this lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. You know, you had no match to get out of that position, and he was so lucky to find a clueless play on that rotation to get those type of match just for him to continue this aspect of it here. But, however, Psycho's now just going to get down, and you can see the enemies are close to him. He manages to get a good pump, and there you go. The players will manage to pick him up. However, we don't know who exactly is get the player eliminated, but we're in this position is actually and Jamie is here guys to get the eliminations, but it doesn't look like they are streaming that POV, so unfortunately we're gonna have to wait and see exactly who was in that play for that to happen. Yeah, I think it's it. That's it.
That's it. Done and dusted. Victor L. Game number 3. Done and dusted. I'm invisible. It's fine. You don't really see me. But I mean, for Crispy and Jamie and them, they were sitting in 7th place. So for them to pick up that sort of victory royale and get those points, I mean, they're going to be happy with that one. That's really going to help them out quite significantly because they were sitting on 28 points. So like I said, you get one of those crazy 30 plus kill games or 20 plus point games, it's really going to help you out.
Sorry, I'm just celebrating watching Man United at the same time. Talk about crazy. But this tournament has been exactly that. It has been a mess. It's been clutch up moments. You know, Crispy and Jamie to win that game means now that they get to jump up extremely high on the leaderboard. But we have 2 more games left, Proxy. Let's go jump into a short break to set up game number 4. And then we'll see exactly what this means. But it's story after story. Different players are taking the shine over there.
You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, can't control them, got it up, haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, can't control them, got it up, haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beep, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beat ba 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 da bum. Beep ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beep ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rolling, can't control them. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Beep ba 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 da bum. Beep ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beep ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba-ba-ba-da-bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Beat, ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-ba-ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Beat, ba-ba-ba-da-bum.
Hey guys, welcome to a blasphemy of a tournament as we jump into game number 4 quite shortly. It has been intense, no one has been consistent in the terms of getting back-to-back victory royale. So even in the sense that, hey, I can be consistent and grab the most points. I mean, Proxy, you and I were both wrong. Crispy didn't win game number 3. It was actually Vibes who managed to grab game number 3 with 6 eliminations. So Crispy and them came second with 8, and that will shake up the leaderboard, but not too dramatic. We're going to look at that leaderboard right now for you guys and quickly change it before people see you disappear. And there we go. So Zara, Warrior, and Xylo somehow still remain in first, but it's not the best of game 3 that we have here, Proxy. Only 16 points. So that's going to be interesting for them. Hopefully they are picking up their socks. But if you look at that top 3 in general, all these guys had bad games. I mean, it's 16-17, 16-20. Those games are not games that are going to get you high on the leaderboards. In second is Popcool. In third is Devs, Card, and Dabs. In fourth is Neymar, Travis, and Woke. In fifth is Najans, Glove, Psycho, and the Cub. You can see Vibes and then jump up the leaderboard drastically, grabbing themselves a Vic Roy. 31 points, and in 7th it's going to be Crispy and them, who did come a second. Guys, remember, this is the prize pool. These players are competing at a chance at the end of the tournament after the 5 games. 2,000 Rand split between first and second. 1,400 Rand going to first, and second having 600 bucks. But I feel like the tournament's just about to jump on board, so we can even go over to CK to see exactly that, Proxy. And I mean, game number 4 over here, and we can only imagine what the scenes are going to be looking like going forward.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for some of the teams, it's getting to that point where, if they haven't been picking up those points, if they haven't, been farming, the kills or the damage or whatever they needed to sort of just push them up on that leaderboard, then it's getting a bit late here because we're into the second last game of the day. So to pick up the amount of points that they need to get close to that first and second place. I mean, first and second place is a difference of 4 points. First is 75, second is currently at 71 points. And I mean, third and fourth is on 67, then 62, and then it really starts going down. I mean, we've got teams in the 50s, we've got teams in one team in the 40s, and then the rest are, 30s and 20s. So for them to now try and pick up points to get into those top 2 slots where they could, be earning themselves a little bit of that share of that prize pool, it's a very difficult situation for them to deal with. So it's unfortunate, but they could obviously still be making it extremely difficult for the guys at the top. Even if you think that you're not going to be the team to be winning out that prize pool, you still, you come back, you play, you get the bragging rights if you need to. Maybe you get a Vic Royale, you get the bragging rights. Maybe you might actually be a deterrent to the teams that are at the top trying to get that prize pool. So, there's a little bit of a revenge in there somewhere for you. So hopefully we will still be seeing the teams as active as they were on that third game, which is really good to see. I think we only saw Storm Surge, I mean, quite late into that game. So that does show that the teams are really trying to stay active.
I mean, for the most part, even more so, we constantly see the action, and it's scary in terms of those rotations and those end games. The pressures pick up, especially knowing that you're in that top 5. Every player left and right that you see may potentially be the ones to, end your throne, end your winnings, and so forth. So yeah, pressure's up. Game number 4 over here, and for the most part, CK and them find themselves some juicy loot. It would have been better if that was a proper pump and not a lever action shotgun. Lever action shotgun, not really the best in my preference. You either want to go off with a charge or a spaz, and yeah, the lever action shotgun is much more fire rate, however, but it's just feels weird shooting with it.
Yeah, and I mean, then you compare like damage, to everything else, and if it's not something that you're comfortable with, then it's a bit rough. It's a bit rough.
And we see exactly him changing it and putting it into a charge shotgun. basically because it is just a much more better shotgun than a lever. And yeah, so CK and them, they've switched up their drop spots, I think 3 times in the mist that we had you last. If you do remember, they were going at Dirty Docks, and then they ended up going to Steamy Stacks, and now they're going to Catty Corner. So this is one of the teams I actually forgot about this, but I don't know if you remember me saying last game that Catty Corner or Weather Station is really a spot that you'd want to find yourself in, and you do
Oh
find
yeah.
CK Bojo and Spooky Boss there exactly. So for the most part, it does look like it's going to be a split drop, which is dangerous as well. You know, anyone can sneak up to CK right here and get a full elimination on him because he's alone. But they're confident in the matter that nobody's around them to contest for the heal. And look at just what RNG they have just alone on CK. He's got a charge shotgun as well as 2 launch pads of sports.
We mentioned this earlier. We thought it was pop cool and them just stealing all the jump pads, and this time it actually might be like CK and Bojo and the likes of them just running away with all the loot that they could have possibly wanted. I mean, to have that ability to just mobilize the team as quick as you need to, especially with those final zones coming through, it really comes in clutch, and it's great for them. Not so great for the other teams that have to deal with it, of course, but we should be seeing, a lot more, hopefully, towards that end zone. And actually, Reepsy and Team Assist with the duo coming through here. So unfortunately, that last member not going to be joining them this time around.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be tough. And for him, he made it tweet out just before this game, giving $10 to everyone when we win NiBBLE, like if they win NiBBLE. But doesn't look like that's going to be happening now. Because as a duo, you can only... Wait, I think is it glitched? I think it is glitched.
Is it glitched?
It is 3 players. Yeah, if you look to the map, you do have like 2 arrows. I don't know if you see that. Like there's 3 players.
Oh, there they are. It is 3. They're just not showing it.
Yeah, no, Fortnite. Come on, Fortnite.
Come on!
Fix the game. And this is not like Epic servers, so...
Hey. That's a whole nother monster we don't want to be talking about right now. Come on.
Oh man, Apex, yeah, but different story, different game, but yeah. So off spawn situations looking very much good for the tier 1 teams. Reepsy being uncontested, Name on them being uncontested, Bojo and them uncontested as well, Dibs and Davs uncontested, Popcorn uncontested. Like in Battle Royale, like you have a vast experience casting different genres, especially PUBG, etc. Like, do you ever find tier 1s contesting each other?
Look, we actually did have that in some of the global series that we saw, like internationally, especially. I remember in Apex, we had 2 of our best SA squads going at each other consistently for the same drop spot, game after game after game after game, and it was rough, man. It was rough because they were some of the biggest orgs that we had. They were some of the best players that we really had in that international comp, and they just kept dropping on the same, as you'd call it, POI consistently. Different game, of course. It wasn't Fortnite, but it was rough to watch because obviously it's your best players, and as a South African, if you're going to be watching that, you obviously want your fellow Saffers to be doing as good as they can. So yeah, it does happen. Sometimes RNG, whether it's just the situation they find themselves in, but to have that happen really does set it up for the rest of the teams in that lobby, because especially if you're taking out, if your 2 teams, your 2 top teams are taking each other out, man, that just gives you an opportunity. And talking about opportunity, look at this, name on them rolling up on another team, going to be finding themselves potentially some free free takens here, as they are looking to get some knocks coming through, but the builds are, for the time being the saving grace, at least not with those 33 body shots coming through, breaking shields left, right, and center as the teams are trying to scramble their way away from Neymar, which, to be fair, I would be doing the exact same thing. I don't want to be fighting, Work. I don't want to be fighting Neymar. I don't want to be fighting Travis. I want to get out of there, man. So for these teams, unfortunately, already seeing the knocks coming through and the loot being dropped, I think it might be down to one player at this moment in time who's just desperately trying to stay alive.
For the most part, this is the team Racket Genie and Energy, who we've come to see just have been unlucky in today's tournament. A third-party situation, I believe we are getting out from the team. No, it isn't. It's just someone ratting his way around the builds and just trying to get in as much damage. You know, as a solo, you can't really do much. So it's a wrap. Just wrap things up and go back to the lobby and see what he can do better. But he finds himself a bum of a cheek of the car over here to explode. And we're gonna get that explosion right now, and that's gonna help us quite a lot. It does look like then we also find the location, and this player is just trying to run around. It is a full trio actually in the pits over here as they fight out, and Woke gets knocked over here. He needs to try and maybe back up Neymar in this instance over here, but there's a player now on height, and you can see the knock come in from Travis as he connects such beautiful shots consistently. And this situation is just not looking too good on Woke as well, as he gets confirmed. So they're going to need to get that reboot card and get him back into the lobby. For the most part, I do think they do manage to clean up everything. Neymar does the service over there, gets his broom, and makes sure that everything's done and dusted over there. But action of Glow as we jump on board with a different team now, though, because Neymar and them are doing the most for us. Doing the most.
They're farming some kills, man. They want to get those points. And I mean, they're not far off from, those top 2 spots. They're currently in 4th. And, as I mentioned, they're sitting on 67 points. 67 to 75, it's not like it's a massive leap. You just have to be concerned, of course, what those top 3 teams are doing and how far they're going to be going this game around. But I'm glad to see that they are hunting for some kills, and they're trying to set themselves up as best as they possibly can. I mean, tuning into some of the other teams, we've seen them time and time again survive some crazy moments. This team in particular, the amount of times that we've seen them just somehow, some way survive, it's been phenomenal. So I'm glad to see, these players are really stepping it up. They're trying to do their best, trying to get themselves into those top 2 spots, get some prize money in the back pockets, and get all the bragging rights that they possibly can.
Yeah, true, and it's those bragging rights that matter the most here in the NiBBLE series because of how consistent it is. So if you're grabbing a single week itself, you automatically qualify into the next round. So you don't even need to play any of the calls or whatever the case may be in the second bi-weekly if you manage to grab. So not only that, but people on social media get to get a little bit of clout or fame, tweeting out their first place position. And it's always good winning NiBBLE. You get the prizes, you get the bragging rights that come with it, especially with a hot series like this that has been going on since February. People will talk about it consistently. It does not matter what the prize pool is, it matters only winning the tournament, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, qualifying into the next round already, that's just a lot less stress on the teams, on the players. They can just get themselves set up for the next phase, which is fantastic. I mean, as we look at it, we're tuning into to Davs and to Divs and Lights that we saw do really great. And I mean, currently they're sitting in 3rd place. If they can pick up a few points here, they might be finding themselves within prize pool position, which is going to be absolutely crucial for them if they want to take away those points. And I mean, Ira, you mentioned, if you get into those top spots, you actually qualify through to the next phase. Is it the top 2 or just the top 3? What's the numbers that we're looking at?
Just first place.
Just the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, they need to pick up some points here, but it's not impossible. It's 8 points, and then they basically, crossed that threshold into potentially that first place spot. Depending on what Popcool and Zora and them do, they might be getting themselves close.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams just around them, hey? There's just literally every side, there's teams rotating into the zone.
Yeah, this is opportunity, if you want to sacrifice and go in for the ultimate gamble of a lifetime, go in and get those eliminations just like Neymar and them did, because they still have potential of winning, but they went in for a gamble, took out 2 teams while at it. So, you want to set yourself the same risk reward over here, is that if you're picking up kill points, you're dampening that lead. Not only that, but you're also getting placement points because you're eliminating teams that are potentially holding you from getting a extra point. So these guys here just need to seriously pick up the pace and maybe not camp too much in their boxes. It is the time of tournament where players are picking up their pace, whether they're tier 3, tier 2, or tier 1, they are getting eliminations and players are dropping down. So when it's time for you guys to get confident and get active, there's not that much players to eliminate and you're going up against the tier 1s and then the fight is just extended. You may potentially lose that fight. But when it's situations like this, you can easily tell when and when not to fight. And honestly, right here, they risking that reward to not get into that first place position. But let's look at second place right now in the tournament, as he seems to find himself in somewhat action over here. Proxy taking up quite the damage. He does have a shield fish, however, and this is exactly how it's done. What I was talking about, if you want to get first place, you're going to make sure to get as much eliminations as possible. And for Popku, who is currently in second, that is the goal.
And I mean, they've been doing really, really good today in terms of their eliminations. They were hitting some natty shots earlier on, especially towards that game 2, game 1. So I mean, they're definitely a team that can make it happen, and they're setting themselves up pretty nicely. I do enjoy the matching outfits, guys. I want to say +1 for that. You know, just absolutely. This is team composition. You know, right here. They're doing the best and the most, but they've set themselves up quite nicely with the loot. I mean, looking at it, they've got the jump pads in as well, so rotations for them are going to be pretty sweet. And they were the team that we were talking about. You know, with those crazy jump pad rotations. Time after time after time, they would just set up beautifully. So if once again they've got all that they need to do exactly just that, we might be seeing another Popcool victory royale.
Definitely. I mean, the loadout is there, like you mentioned. The launch pads are there. I don't see how they don't win. If it's almost a replica of their game number 2, and maybe also, you know, they're working off 2s to win the game. 2, 4, 6. Unfortunately, there's no 6th game. But if they're working in terms of winning every second game, then maybe this is their shot at this one. But another introduced item which we're looking at right now is the shadows. And you get a flopper shadow, you also get the cube shadows, and they work in a space of you become a shadow for a minute. You can phase into builds as well, and you can't really be seen, but they can hear you. So talk about broken.
Yeah, no, I mean, the amount of items we've spoken about that are just absolutely crazy in this game so far. I mean, you know, we mentioned the minigun. We've spoken about the Carnage grapple coming through as well. It's, I don't know, it's just insane, man. How are you supposed to deal with items like this?
Yeah, honestly, and there's some counters to it in a way, but it's not. Your counter in Fortnite is your building, right? But now if you have a shadow guy that just phases through your builds, what is your counter then?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You cry. You run. You leave.
You press start. You quit the game.
We leave these boys. We don't bother with us. No, it's cool.
So yeah,
It's crazy.
But it is pre-season, so you know a lot of these things we may not even see next week or in the second bi-weekly proxy. So when you join us yet again, we may not even be talking about the shadows or the miniguns or the mythic orbs or whatever the case may be. I love how Fortnite though likes to put such added pressure to everyone immediately, and you know, pre-season and so forth. It's a new feature that they have been doing now for I think 3 weeks, but before that it was here's a season, you like it or not, just play it. But now you got to adapt to the pre-season because there's local tournaments that are happening as well as in-game FNZA warm-ups that are there. But you adapt to what's here, you get the shadows, that's your gameplay. You love playing with shadows, but let's take shadows out so that for the official season. So Fortnite just, they play with your emotions. They play with your emotions right now because a Carnage can just come in, spook the hell out of you, and then they will play with your emotions because you're the player with the Carnage, and unfortunately it's been taken out.
It happens. I mean, just when you start, you know, using something that's like game breaking, like that Carnage, and they take it out, and it's sad. But if you look into it, Zycle and them, they've actually managed to spot out another team. They've made an early rotation. They've set themselves up quite nicely, but now they have to deal with, of course, everyone else taking the exact same path as them and potentially looking to take them out this time around. But again, you know, we've seen this exact team survive so many situations. Hopefully they'll be able to do the exact same thing. We've got 49 players left and locked and loaded for the rest of this phase as the storm is closing in. So still a lot of action that has to go down and a lot of fights that need to continue and finish up and coming to a close. Because these teams, only one of them can take that victory royale, and as we know, only the top two are going to get a share of that prize pool. So hopefully for these teams, they'll be able to pick up some points here, but they need to be careful of those third parties coming through.
Oh, and it does look like it's further away. Getting another knock over here. Unfortunately, he's not able to get that final shot. But it's that point that we've been seeing, and you know, we also still have the chunk cannon in the game, and it's more available in terms of finalists in Domus, and Domus now walk. I don't know if you know that, but they run away from you.
No, they're missions, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so they run away from you, and you can box them up and deal damage, and then you get your preferred loot, your all great, but nothing really denting that opposition or them. They gotta make a rotation. It is a far rotation as well, seeing that we are going into the end games. Game number 4, just how quickly does time move?
Yeah, for that's quick, man, dude. But also, I mean, if you look at it right now for Cycle and them, they've got the advantage, right? The team that they're busy fighting have to go through them to get into the zone. So they've got a pretty good position. It is a far rotation, but they should be able to set themselves up nicely. Wait, is it lighter than that they're busy fighting here? Oh.
Potentially be no. I think they
No, just around the corner.
like this in them a position higher, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, look, either way, there's so many teams right in front of them that when they do make this rotation, as we mentioned, they have to go through so many different teams. They do have the jump back coming through, as we can see right now, taking a nice long rotation around, trying to spot out a place that they could be, use as their safe haven, maybe get a little bit of a box going and get themselves covered up for that next Eye of the Storm coming through. But this is where the chaos happens. You know, we've got 39 players left, and I mean, with shots like that, we might not have many left after.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that he can just take a peek and boom, bam, boom, he gets some beams in. And it does look like they're trying to focus up on another team over here, and they just grab the wall, grab the cone, but they're not going to fully engage as there's a call-up maybe that there's another opposition that they can fight over there. And the team's very active, you know, they're moving in their box, they're making these decisions quickly as well, and that's what, you know, makes you on top of the leaderboard, and we can see exactly that happening with Divs and Dabs. So Divs and Dabs were the second part of the team for Spooky Boss to get that second curse. So maybe we may just see that come in with this tournament yet again, where somewhere or another one of these players are the curse reasoning to why they keep getting second. Spooky has left the team, he's joined CK and Bojo. Is it Dabs? Is it Divs? Is it Card? Who is it? We want to know.
No, just no curses, please. Like no curses, no casters curses, and no game curses. Okay, let's just move away from them, please. It's been enough. It's been enough. We can see here once again those mats are getting shredded to absolute pieces as everyone's just trying to build up into a position where they can try and take a fight at a better angle. So far, it's not looking too good. We're seeing a lot of teams dropping out here. I mean, I can see you struggling to find someone to spectate here.
That was actually Name on them who was trying to spectate, and they are taken out. So that aggressive gameplay is just gonna eat them up. And we talked about it, you know, it's a gamble risk reward. If you die, you die. It was a moment of them trying to get as much eliminations, and unfortunately it didn't go in their favor. But Popcool, Latte, and Steri making these insane rotations between builds, now trying to get himself a couple beams, but they stick to each other like glue. And what is nice, and I know you mentioned them having the same color skin, is that they can't really give a call off if they beam someone. They beamed a Mongol master, but there's 3. So which one did you beam? Hello? I'm confused.
Hello? Which one?
That's what's nice, is that these teams are staying with the same skin. It does give off a bit of a confusion to the oppositions, and it has been a strat for many seasons, is stay the same skin. If they beam one of us, they won't know which one they've been. So let's see exactly what happens here with Latte and them, as we did see them in the previous game number 2 on height, but now on the lowest lows of the map, making those rotations, staying ahead of zone, and this is where you generally want to find yourself in. Their loadout is still looking decent as they have one launch pad at hand. They also still have enough ammunition to spray the oppositions over there, and they're trying to find and clear out their pads as much as they can to try get eliminations over here. And there goes their last utility of Mini. So Popcool, if he gets any damage dealt to him, he's going to need to pay that the damage he deals to his opposition is a confirmation of note.
Yeah, we mentioned it, Popcool and them sitting in second place. So, I mean, depending on what's happened to Zora, Warrior, and Zoxlo, if they're still in this or if they're not in this could be the moment that Popcool and them move up into that first place finish. You can see the 73 coming through, taking the damage, and now giving them an opportunity to potentially get another team wipe here, get those kill points, and get themselves higher up on that leaderboard. Yeah, they are just shredding mats, man. Everyone who's been taking the damage from Popcool and them should be running. Just leave it. Don't fight it, just go.
Yeah, fortunately right now it does look like the team's going to be pinched quite a bit. No mats on Popcool, as he did split earlier on. You now see Latte get taken out, and Popcool just trying to smother his way in between the bullets, and he's getting tagged up and almost a one pump to the face, but unfortunately he's going to hit a bang. And Stary's still alive over here, but let's go over to Lightcard, Davs, and Divs to see whether or not they're still alive in this one. And they are indeed. They are on height, but they're on height as a duo. But this still means that they can grab as much placement points as they can possible. Getting into the end game on height means exactly that. It's 3 points for placement. Will they be able to somehow secure themselves the Big Roy as a duo, though?
Yeah, that's the thing. We've seen Neymar and them do this exact same sort of strat. They had the height. They could drop down onto the teams whenever they needed to. And as we look at it, you know, there's so few members left in this final zone. As it comes to a close, it is looking really good for Divs and them. It looks like it's only, I can't even see it, 4 players left. I mean, with the duo, there's another 2 that they need to worry about. And if they find the angle on them, we could be looking at that Divs W, that Victor Royale coming through. And of course, they could be picking up some serious points, getting them out of 3rd place. This could be the change that we were looking. We thought it was going to be Popcool, but no, it's looking so good for Divs and them, just trying to connect those shots and trying to manage that Eye of the Storm, stay alive, not take too much damage. And here comes the fight coming through. The damage, the knock is there. It's only one more player remaining between them, standing in between them and the Victory Royale. Trying to find that angle is the crucial spot, and it's gonna come through for Divs. Man, Divs, Card, and Davs coming through with the Victory Royale in our 4th game of the day. They have to be elated with that one. That surely should be pushing them up into those prize-winning spots.
Honestly, what an amazing scene. You know, they managed to get a heal off over there. They get the chug cannon, and that was just enough for them to sort of progress into that. So that's a GG's. I'm happy they've managed to do that. But what does this mean for the leaderboard? We don't know who was in 2nd place as well. Proxy, so this is going to be interesting. And last game of the evening, guys, of the NiBBLE FNZA arena that we have on board over here, guys. It is game number 5 that we got to get into shortly. So let's not waste any of your guys' time, and let's jump straight into this short break while we set up game number 5.
You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba ba da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. ba 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 da bum, bee ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the bee ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, bee ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the bee ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, bee ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Bee ba 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 da bum. Bee ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, bee ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Bee ba 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 da bum. Bee ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, bee ba 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 da bum. You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves as they rollin', as they rollin', can't control 'em. Caught in a haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba You're like the mist in the morning. You're a moment, body warming. I can't resist where you're going. Make me an ocean, overflowing. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba ba ba. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum. Waves, as they rolling, as they growing, can't control them, got it up, haze on the ceiling, you got me feeling, I must be dreaming. Sweet dreams of your love, keeping me up, can't get enough. Sweet dreams of your touch, do what you want, just keep it up. To the rhythm of the beat, ba 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 da bum, ba 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 da bum, beat ba 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 da bum. To the rhythm of the beat, ba ba.
Oh fuck. Oh shit, sorry. So yeah, guys, welcome to game number 5, guys, where we will be jumping on board with the very last one right now, guys. And it has been a roller coaster of emotions, stories, no set consistencies, and even for like the truest comebacks have failed, with Neymar as a prime example. We did see Proxy, you know, them being so aggressive, setting the tone going into each of the games and so forth, but it just somehow just keeps declining in terms of performance, and hopefully we'll get to see maybe a consistency from Dibs and Dabs. For the most part, we can't say they've been consistent. We just haven't witnessed it 100%, but they, by the likes of it on the leaderboard, you guys can see over here, not the gameplay, the leaderboard. There we go. So Divs, Card, and Dabs, first place over here, 97 points. Still close. Proxy.
Shame. And once again, Popcool and them are 4 points away from first place.
Yeah.
But it's a different first place.
Different first place.
It hurts, man. It hurts. But I mean, still they're in the top 2 spots. And I mean, you got Zara and them in third. You still got Neymar and them in fourth. Clubs and Zyko coming through. They're in fifth place. They're Nigents. So it's close. It's close. But for some of the teams, unfortunately, it's not close enough. And with the last game coming through, it's the last opportunity for some of these teams to make a change. I mean, top 2 definitely can still change. Maybe that the team can still come through and grab a few points if Zara, Warrior, and Zyxlo and them, you know, do some insane things in this last game. Then yeah, maybe they can steal some points. But for the rest, it's gonna be a tough fight if they want to make a change here.
Yeah, it's gonna be, that top 3 has changed like constantly. First, second, like, but fourth and fifth have remained the same. You know, like we've had Nagents in fifth, we've had Travis and them in fourth. That hasn't changed at all. But let's go over on board with the players racing them at Retail Row. Hopefully to see whether or not we do get that off-spawn situation we did in game number 1.
Yeah, it's curious. I feel like we've had one game that was extremely active, and I mean, we've seen we're down to 71, it's now to 70 players. So that's where we're at the moment, and you just have to keep that in mind when we see the rest of the game. Of course, dropping here through to Retail Row, trying to get those loots set up absolutely as quick as possible. But it's been a little bit quiet for some of the teams that, you know, we were really expecting to pop off tonight.
I don't know, you know, the set of tone, confidence, and balance that we are getting out from a lot of these teams, like the likes of Crispy, like we expected a lot more teams to be doing well, like Crispy, Reepsy, CK, those 3 teams, but there's still an increased number of teams that are mentioned in a way that they are top 5, top 10 sort of formed up in this new season. So they're here still making a name for themselves, and we are getting finally that off-spawn action, and its explosion, and that house is all wood. So this player may potentially be in a burning situation anytime now. And Race is just dealing that damage, dealing that beam. He's managed to connect a number of shots and maybe even turn the advantage over to their team, as now they are on height and they can get another beam over here. He's getting burnt by his own damage over here. So he's managed to crack the player, but Buzzy, or no, Spyro is going to get knocked. So it's a 2v2, but no, it does look like for the most part they do manage to grab the eliminations. And I do feel like there's still one lurking around, because you can see for the most part, Race is very much concerned. Buzzy's moving around as well. He's tagged up quite significantly, and he gets that AR out. He doesn't care who's there. He dances on them on top of everything. So fantastic scenes that we are getting yet again from Race on the off-spawn situation. For the most part, Proxy, like, a POI is your home, right? And like, if you're constantly getting like intruders like Kryptonic, as we can see over there, do you continue intruding at that POI, or do you go somewhere else?
It's the whole, it's what I mentioned earlier when we had our two top teams just fighting for the same spot. It's like one half of it is making a statement saying, hey, this is my spot. You don't come to my spot. This is mine. You fight them, you go for it, and if it works out, then not only do you start off your game with some kill points like we can see here, but you can also potentially obviously run away with some absolute bragging rights and potentially deter them from coming back a second time. But if that team is just as stubborn as you are, then you could be just looking for trouble. But so far, for now, it worked out for them. And I mean, depending on the team, they might make a different decision. So I'm glad that, they stuck to their guts. They defended their home, defended their honor, got the kill points coming through. And some long range shots coming through this time around. It's looking like all of these teams are absolutely here for the last game, giving us some insane action right from the get-go, down to 61 players as we look at it. And I mean, the storm is still closing in. Come on.
Oh my man, the action is here. It's game number 5. You have nothing to lose if you're dying. Oh, and what is happening as Fuzzy's trying to make a crazy gameplay with the vehicle, but unfortunately it's gonna explode and get him some damage over there. He's got the, not a sniper, but it's almost like a marksman rifle. You could almost say it's your rampage in Fortnite, if that makes sense over here. It does have a sort of automation to it, and they're just exploding vehicles left, right, and center. 61 players still remaining. A mini goes into use. They can get a beam over here. It's Busy and them very much active, and I do believe there's a third party to make that as well. But Havoc's going in for the fight over here. A bullfight onto his right. Swizzy just making sure that the left opponent is occupied as well. Trying to get a top down. Will he manage to do so successfully? Oh!
No. He's not going to be doing anything successfully with that not coming through. They're going to just have to just back off, wait for the team to hopefully come through and get that raise and just bring some calm to the storm that just happened there. That was some damage,
That was a beam. Luckily, they have time to get the duel off the revive, but for how much longer can they hold the spray that is coming out from the oppositions? Swizzy's almost out of mats. He's only got 15 more builds to his name, so he needs to make sure that, whatever is his right here does not get beamed too much, because he will definitely be in a tough position.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue. Like, if you're trying to hold on to that aggressive angle, trying to just wait for that head to pop out so you can throw your shots in, you put yourself at that exact same risk, especially with another team just finding a different angle on you, or the rest of the team, the other players just finding that perfect angle. So I mean, with that coming through, that damage, that's going to be a little bit of a shock to the team to just reset and get ready for this fight once again. Just take a little bit of ownership of what's happening here, trying to find the angle, trying to get some damage in, and it's just not quite yet connecting for the team that we're looking at right now here with Swizzy and Navix. So hopefully they will be able to just find an angle here, or at the best case scenario, get out, because the damage is still being dealt. And I mean, at this point, you look at your consumables. If your consumables are starting to run thin, you should be worrying a little bit. Like we said, the mat's already low for them. The shield pots are running low as well. You can see they're trying to share whatever they can, but I mean, at this moment in time, you take damage. What can you do to heal up now?
Yeah, no, they've shared everything. And talking about heal up, looks like in any moment now they're gonna start needing to make some movement because that zone is pushing up on them. Ace trying to go in for a side jump pump, doesn't look like he connects anything. Swizzy also going in for a side jump pump, he connects the 81 pump. Damage over there, and for the most part he's doing quite a bit, but he's out of mats. He can no longer build, so whatever he does now needs to be careful as he tries to get some cover in, but he's gonna try his level best to 50-50 that. And you can see Havix gets eliminated. They get fully eliminated over here. It's a team wipe from Dino and his team as they clutch in the zone over here. But at what expense? Because that was a lot of consumables going into the gameplay over there. So that's just been a GG's overall. We can go over to Travis and them to see what's happening on their POV, whether or not they're still in this tournament. They are still in this game, very much aggressive. Travis connects a huge pump on these sides, jumps straight into the box with his AR, and Woke is there to help him out, and they can't get the revive. It does look like it's Slayer Silence and Sub who's gonna get eliminated outside Slurpee Swamp.
Oh, this is starting to get really, really crazy. And I mean, it's been difficult, of course, watching Neymar and them who had such a phenomenal first game. And then from that first game, as you mentioned, it started to teeter off a little bit there. The performances weren't quite there. Of course, we weren't following them, 100% of the time, so it could have been an RNG factor that came through. As we mentioned, battle royales, it happens. Sometimes you rotate into a team when you're not quite ready for them and it just doesn't work out your way, and they've just been falling short of getting that victory royale since that first game happened. So hopefully, for them, they're probably looking to try and get themselves set up this time around. I mean, as it stands currently, if we do a little bit of quick math, which I'm absolutely horrible at, they're sitting at 74 points. Top one is sitting at 97, I believe. Second place sitting at 93. So they need to pick up a seriously insane game if they want to get themselves into prize-winning positions. Which, I mean, it's not like it's impossible. It is the teams that we're talking about after all, but it will be a fight. It will be a big, big fight to get there.
Yeah, definitely. And at least they end in pride, trying to get as much points as they can possibly. That's what really matters in this aspect over here. Let's go jump over with the players' gloves, Psycho and them, to see what's happening with them, how they play as team. You can see them on the outskirts of the map, just rotating on the dead side of zone. And for the most part, again, these guys are in top 5, so they best finish could potentially be top 3 or 4th place. To the max, I think, over there, because I feel like Dara Warrior and Pop Cool and they've definitely secured top 3, but it comes down to the question, who in what order is that top 3 going to be looking like?
I mean, we also need to talk about the first team that's going through, of course. Like we mentioned, they'll be able to get the bragging rights, yes, but they'll also be able to qualify for the next season immediately.
Yeah.
So that helps out a lot, and a nice cool 1,400 in your back pockets, nothing to scoff at there. Nice little bit of pocket change. Work it out today with the battle pass and buy a few more skins if you need to, but for some rotations to come through here. 47 players left, still standing on this map as it currently stands, and Storms are still busy closing in. So these teams, they need to get prepped and they need to get ready. But Iro, I'm seeing a few little bit of knocks coming through here.
Yeah, it does look like we're gonna have Storm, Keaton, and Chim Storm roll this team. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see exactly how, but we do see a team wipe either way coming in from that team over there. So GG's over there. 44 players remaining, Proxy, so for the most part, this looks like a broken game. And did I just see Venom pull down the supply drop? Did I just see that, or am I tripping? Because I think I just did.
I swear I did.
No way.
No.
There's no way it can pull down a
No, that's
supply
broken.
drop.
Nah, that's broken. Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Oh, you wanna speed?
That's nonsense.
You wanna speed up the supply drop? Just pull it down with Venom, guys. That's exactly how you do things.
Yeah, casual. Casual. Sorry, guys. Didn't you know that?
Oh my.
Obviously.
Yeah, no, very balanced. Like I mentioned,
Super balanced item. I can't see anything wrong with this particular, item that we have here. But what I do need to just bring attention to is we've got Reject, Reapsy, Team Assist, obviously in the same team with a Venom
Oh
and
yes.
a couple of legendary, guns in their midst. So I mean, they're gonna be happy. They're gonna be pretty set up,
Yeah.
and they've got another team right in front of them that they are very keenly looking to go take out.
I mean, at this point, for Reaps and them with the performance today, they have nothing to lose, and they're such good fighters, though. They're such good players. They can be on top of the leaderboard if they had focused up or if RNG had gone into their favor. We have no idea what were the contributions to why they're here, but there's a Venom. 2 players he grabs for himself, trying to get a charged shotgun play, but unfortunately doesn't get anything over there. And yeah, we get to witness it properly here today, guys, with Reapsy in the final game as he pulls, no, Rejects in the final game as he pulls an opposition to his right side over here, and I think we may just potentially see it yet again.
I can't like stress enough the fact that we've seen so many close, fights coming through that some teams really had no business of winning. But now, with Reapsy and them, they've obviously they find a prime position to go on, but it's not going to be them making the first move, not this time around. So far, they're going to be able to recover quite quickly and hold on to this for the time being, but that's a little bit of a shock to the system as they look at it. You can see just trying to find an angle there that they can make use of that Venom correctly, but it's getting a bit tight. It's getting a bit stressful, if I'm going to be honest.
I mean, Carnage vs Venom. I never thought I'd be witnessing that over there. We did see a little bit of a pull grab with a Carnage. So now Venom trying to find some oppositions over there. Unfortunately, not able to connect to anyone. Although Shambles, it does look like the oppositions are in. Does look like he's gonna get tagged up quite a bit over here. Deals back equivalent damage as well. So Rejects finds a breather, gets his utility in. It's a big 50 pot to get his HP back to normal over here. And 37 players remaining. We had 70 plus just moments ago, but no.
I blinked and then it just happened, and now what I'm blinking is I'm seeing shots going in. I mean, this is the nature of Fortnite, Ira. As you've thoroughly explained it to me, the action just really starts happening, especially with these rotations. Those wooden shields aren't going to do anything for you, man. Just get out of there as soon as you can. It's a bit of an issue. It can be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it really can. Chimp and Storm Keaton seem to be aggressive in the kill feed. We do see another kill from them. Did I mention that it also redeploys so you can continuously fly?
No, it's broken. It's broken. Broken arrow. I don't want it. I don't want it in my game.
Just talk about a item to have, and on top of everything, you have to deal with Reject's aim. So he's able to beam you, he's able to grab you. Talk about a violation and a half as they gatekeep the players in zone right here.
It's just so much damage to deal with. I mean, you're just trying to get into zone, and here's Rejects and they're just holding you out, and doing damage to you, and getting knocks. It's too much, Ira. It's too much.
It is, and he's able to shift his attention to the back as a third party potentially could have come for Rejects, and he just beamed him. No worries whatsoever, but 10 assist. However, he's gonna get knocked. Does look like
now it's
couple parties over here.
Well, but I mean, you can see why though. Look at the rotation path that they have to make. 33 players left alive. He's trying to stay into this. He's trying to stay alive, trying to build himself out of a situation here, trying to get those shots connected as everyone is just aggressing on the same position here. So Rejects has to, for the time being, not worry about his teammate that's knocked. He just has to worry about what's in front of him. Looks like two players actually going for him at the same time. Gonna do quite a little bit of damage there with that 37 coming through. Trying to find another angle there, but the builds are getting in the way as they normally would, and the edits just aren't working out. Is gonna drop down, trying to find that angle, but suddenly the players they go silent. Disappeared almost, just trying to find heights onto Reapsy and Rejects there. Well, unfortunately, Team Assist is going to be down and out and just spectating the madness that is happening right in front of their eyes.
Launchpad play to disengage from such a contested place. Oh! What just happened? Oh, player Anonymous unfortunately picks up 2 juicy eliminations over here. And what does suck, however, is sometimes there's a glitch with the Venom, is that you glide slowly. So that's why we did see him slow up in the sky, and then in the end, it was just the GG's. And we do see Reefy lining up a 34 pump charge. He uses another launch pad to get into the depths of zone, but it's a beam. He's on 9 HP. He's literally a flick of HP, and nobody's here to get that reward of elimination. So we're gonna have to wait and find out exactly what will happen with him going forward. But it's endgame. I want to know whether or not Lightcard, Davs, and Bibs are still alive. Are they still in this position? And yes, they are indeed. And it's Carnage, the team that was up against Reepsy earlier on, who managed to have this. So we can wrap up everything, guys. Congratulations to Lightcard, Davs, and Bibs for winning this tournament.
Arrow, you know that's not how it works. No, but I agree with you. I mean, if they just took out, Reepsy and the likes, I mean, there's only one member remaining of that team. And as you mentioned, 9 HP, nothing to scoff at, is going to just worry about recovery and staying alive. I do want to draw attention to the fact that we've got 27 players alive in such a small area. It is, it's expected that those third parties are going to come through. I mean, when we were talking about Reepsy and Rejects, I think they thought of 2 teams, and then the third team, which we believe, was the likes of Davs and Divs and Light coming through to get those final knocks. Of course that's going to happen, and it's unfortunate for a team like Reepsy and them, who did so well, especially with that Venom coming through. But it looks like Carnage was the one to win it out this time around versus Venom and Carnage, and now, yeah, we'll see. They're really in a good position to continue their first place winning here.
Honestly, and we have to give a little bit of a peek over at Poppool just to see exactly what's happening over there as well. Whether or not they're still alive. They are indeed, however, 0 kill points to the name, and they are 4 points apart. So, man, I don't know if this is going to be enough for Poppool and them. Maybe a victory royale if they somehow manage to grab that over there. They do have, the desired loadout they continuously get every single game. Launch pads, gold scar, blue pumps. Misty is a broken spot to go to because loadout has been consistent for the most matter, and they don't even need to worry about RNG. So, guys, we are finally getting into that first... Oh, apologies. Finally getting into that first moving zone, and 25 players remain. So, we're not going to get Storm Surge. We're not going to get stacked contestants over here, but we are going to get a rotation of top teams who want to win the NiBBLE FNZA series that we have on our hands, week 13.
Ooh, the fact that we still got so many heavy hitters still alive in this and fighting for that top spot. You can see the rotations coming through and the shots just going right past them, under their feet, next to their faces. They're just trying to survive at this moment in time, so close to that storm. And with it rotating now through, it is going to make it so much more difficult for the teams who aren't being proactive and getting those rotations coming through. I do think from how it looks like, this could be an opportunity for Popcool and them, but this can equally be an opportunity for our current first place holders, which is Divs, Card, and Davs. So I mean, we could be seeing an upset here, Iro. There's an opportunity here. If Popcool and them can make their rotations without getting knocked, then we could be seeing something happening here. But as I said that, it was a Costa's curse, I think. But oh no.
It was indeed. You thought it was going to be a clean rotation, but no. Starry just gets absolutely disintegrated in the sky, and he gets knocked, eliminated on top of that. Popcool trying to go in for the play to, make the revive, but nope. I think the dreams of Popcool winning the week 13 have come to an end, and we can go on board with Card and Dabs right now, the current first place team holders, and it does look like they're in a good position of zone as well as rotation, trying to get a beam, trying to get a peek, just trying to pick up as much as they can. And just look at their team kills as they now sit on 2. They reach top 7. It's almost guaranteed that they take this one. He grabs a play, it hits for 60 as well. But not going to be able to connect anything further than that. 15 players now remain on the leaderboard, and you know, for the most part, they're excited, they're happy, they've seen those numbers drop down, they've even been paying close attention to the kill feed, and somehow, all of a sudden, they're sitting on 16 kills. Where did that happen?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's those last few knocks, you know, those last little bit of damage there where the teams and the players are stuck in the zone. But it doesn't mean it's over by any means necessary. They still have to contest with the remaining players. I mean, other than the 3 of them, there's still 9 other players in the small space fighting for the exact same thing, fighting for that victory royale. And at the moment, they need to turn their attention up towards the top of them, trying to use that carnage to their advantage. Down to 11 we go, but as it stands, they are still just taking a little bit of damage here from the zone, trying to hold on to what they can. But they need to be careful because at every single corner, no! At every single corner, there's a player to take you out. Divs, Davs, God, what's happening? It's only Divs left now to try and hold on to their first place finish. A solo in an army of, you know, 6 other players.
We can only hope that, you know, it's not Warrior who's somehow managed to grab and steal away the victory over here. He's gonna sit in the zone with a chug cannon, try heal up as much as he can, and sit here in the docks. There's a player here who's gonna notice him as well, and he can get a good shot on connection, but I don't think it's gonna be enough as he gets taken out. And it does look like maybe it is Altus and not somebody that we need to worry so deeply about. Let's see exactly what happens though as we go into the final pits of zone. We don't know who's alive. It's just a bunch of anonymous players, but this is the end game we did not expect. Does look like Dusk is alive somehow and in the end games as well. So for the most part, I don't think Divs and Daz need to worry that much deeply about what they have at hand, who the contestants for victory in this game is gonna be. We're just gonna have to find out exactly who these players were and wait for that final leaderboard to update. But Proxy, that is the tournament that we have on our hands over there. The games are completed, the tournament's completed. Now it is only to find out who has taken up that first place position, and we're gonna give these players a couple time on their hand to sort of submit. And before you disappear, let's just bring you back. What do you have to say about those 5 games overall?
I do say, like, you know, compared to what we saw last time, I feel like we do have a lot more of a competitive scene from what I've seen so far. You know, last time around when I was doing this with you, it was sort of just, you know, we had 1 or 2 players within the discussion of, okay, who's going to take this win? Who's going to be the team to take the victory royale? And this time around, it's, I don't know. It can be one of like 10 different teams that can be taking the victory royale. So it does mean that you have these exciting moments where you're waiting till that last possible game to see who's going to be in that leaderboard, who's going to be in those top 2 spots, and of course, who's going to be taking the prize winnings at the end of the day, which is fantastic. It's what we need. It's what we want in any sort of esports scene. So I just want to say a big shout out to the players. They've obviously been putting in the work and been improving phenomenally up until this point, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next one.
Man, we're gonna see, maybe we can get a little bit of a refresh on the website right over here, and to see whether or not these players sort of come through. And let's just look at that right now. I'm gonna give this a refresh, see if it has updated, if the leaderboard has come through. And I think for the most part, yeah, it has. And whoa, whoa.
Okay, whoa.
Okay, guys, let's
you
look
need to
at
show
that
that.
leaderboard at right now. Let's remove these players off the screen. And nope, not that. And boom, bada boom. Can't
It's
find
fine,
the
guys.
leaderboard.
He's a
There we go.
professional. I swear.
There we go. So boom, guys.
What?
Let's celebrate Divscard and Davs for winning their first ever bi-weekly or FNZA series week 13, guys. 122 points, but in second place, a note of comeback. It's Neymar, Travis, and Woke, who have climbed the topples from 4th to 2nd place, meaning now they walk away with some prize money here, Proxy. And a GG's to the rest of the lobbies and the top 5 over here. Popcool, Alpha, and Lurker, as they secure that top 5 place position. But it's this card Davs that now will be able to walk through into the end with a absolute madness.
I mean, you know, typical of Neymar and them to win the first game and win the last game of the day coming through. Like you mentioned, you know, with the clutch of a century to get that second place. There was a 3 point difference between them and Popcool between second and third place. So it was as close as it possibly could have gotten. And yeah, absolutely just GG's, well played to Div's card and Davs for coming through with the clutch and winning the first, is it their first? Really?
Yeah, I think it has to be their first. Yeah.
That's nonsense, man. They played like absolute champions today. But yeah,
Yeah, no,
GG's, well played.
round of applause to that team. And again, thank you so much, Proxy, for joining us over here. And well, look forward to the next one again with you. Thank you guys to the viewers. Thank you to NiBBLE Esports for yet again another fun-packed entertainment, competitive story tournament for us on our hands over here. It was really amazing. Again, thank you to the competitors and everyone involved in making this one a success. Guys, we'll be seeing you at the end of this month for week number 14 of the NiBBLE Arena FNZA series. So make sure you guys are subscribing, liking, turning post notifications, and make sure to follow Elite Pro Series _ and you guys will be able to find a lot more announcements, as well as go over to the description and follow NiBBLE Esports. All their ads and social medias are down there. So see you guys in the next one.
Beep, ba, 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 da, boom.